हेलो चेक ए क्या है अब I somehow get a feeling that why do I feel that the number of people in the class have increased हाँ नहीं increased today it feels like increased there is no place to sit at all so there are people who have suddenly joined in the middle of the batch now Rushad no हाँ there was no boy of that name before ना हाँ अच्छा वो शादी कर हाँ हाँ ठीक है तो till now you have reached till Rushad good you are not talking about Akash हाँ all right ladies and gentlemen boys and girls welcome back clearly audible and handsome face is clearly visible after so many days कौन है वो किच mad or what Ranveer Allabadia now to come out of the controversy there is only one option he will have to rename himself to Ranveer Prayagrajia all right ladies and gentlemen time for some clubbing time for some clubbing पागल क्या I am talking no? क्या हुआ रे okay अरे again some black magic someone has done CA students expectation versus reality for those who may expect oh sir clubbing सुबह होने ना दे शाम होने ना दे एक दूसरे को sorry this ladies and gentlemen is clubbing of क्या है रे भाई तेरे को clubbing of stop okay CA students expectation versus reality as interesting as it may sound but this is not that clubbing which clubbing subah this is clubbing of income if I have to give you the gist of this chapter if I have to give you the gist of this chapter in short this chapter is a chapter where there will be income which will be earned by a person say X the person who will earn the income will be a person called X however the income will be taxable for another person called Y in tax language we say that this income will be clubbed in the income of Y so what is the gist or crux of the chapter what is this chapter in short income is earned therefore there is income tax who is earning the income in whose bank account the money is going X who is receiving the money X but who will pay tax Y when you calculate income of Y in that you will add means club merge mix that is clubbing is a chapter where you are going to pay tax on income belonging to someone else क्या एक मिनट sir did I hear what I did I will pay tax on income of someone else means my neighbor's wife will earn income and I will pay tax on that I have clearly told her that relation is one thing and monetary matters are separate I don't mix them forget the tax part you see the affection here प्यार देखो neighbor's wife is earning income I am paying tax because the reality is it is this person who actually earned this income this person falls in 30% tax bracket and therefore any income this person earns will be taxable at a rate of 30 a little idea of slabs no the little idea that we did will help you to understand what is happening this person falls in tax rate of 30% which is already very high and any income now earned will be taxable at 30 So the idea is I will divert income in the name of another very, very closely associated person, which is maybe X. X can be my spouse, my parents, my children, my siblings, Rosie or Lucy. Rosie कौन? Neighbor's wife, my PA secretary. Lucy, same as Chinu Chibu Chiku. That also is an artificial juridical person, no? Take the check in the name of Chinu Chiku Chiku or Lucy is your pet. Take the check in the name of your pet. So do you realize the money is coming, whether spouse, parents, siblings or children, or Rosie or Lucy, the money is coming to your household, but in the name of someone else, so that we can exploit that slabs to reduce tax. I'm not saying it is not taxable. It will still be taxable, but the rate of tax of that other person is lower. No? So first we will start with 0, then we go to 5, then we go to 20. Only after a certain threshold we go to 30. So till that range we will be able to save tax by diverting our income in the name of someone else. Income tax law has caught certain transactions where people are diverting incomes in the names of family members, and they are going to prohibit you from doing that. You still want to take check in the name of your family member, take it. Just don't get caught. At the beginning of my married life, when I started, actually because of marriage, I started falling in higher tax brackets. Luck is a big factor. You immediately realize post marriage whether it was a lucky marriage or an unlucky marriage. Higher tax brackets. I belong to the Marwadi community. 30% tax means possible nahi hai that we are going to pay. And ma'am had newly shifted to Mumbai from a new city, from another city. So she did not have any source of income here as such. So initial days, I started taking my incomes in her name. Money is coming in my house. In any case, even if it comes to my name, in my name, I had to surrender it to her only now. So the money was coming in her bank statement. Of course, gradually, being a professionally qualified person, she developed her own profession here and now earns more than me. That's a separate thing altogether. So now rather she should divert her income to my name. I am below basic exemption. She falls in 30%. So she can do the other way around. Clubbing will still apply whether I divert my income or she diverts her income. Clubbing provisions are going to be applicable every time you try to divert. Some of the coaching classes used to pay my professional fees in her account. Of course, we didn't get caught. The reason for not getting caught is when we file our return, we have to mention business profession, nature of business, nature of profession, and in that there is an option, chartered accountant. List of businesses given, you have to choose what is your business. We choose chartered accountant, auditors. And the moment the income tax officer sees the nature of business profession as CA, he will avoid sending notice because he knows he will ask one question, I will give him 5 answers. We are normal loss for them. They won't send you notice because they know that they will have answers to everything. They will focus somewhere else and gain revenue from there instead of wasting the time or energy on us. We never got notice. Don't go and tell this to anyone, and even if you do, now the time to reopen cases of those years over. There is a certain time up to which past year ka cases can be opened. That time is gone. But there was a time when we did this diversion. If caught, the main thing is getting caught. Till the time you don't get caught, committing a crime is allowed. Murder is not a crime. Getting caught after committing murder is crime. You don't get caught, no problem. But if you get caught in any of the following transactions, then the income will be taxable in the hands of transferor. This chapter has just identified some such transactions and put them in front of us. Let us see what are those transactions. First section of the chapter, section 60, transfer of income without transfer of asset. Transfer of income without transfer of asset. Let's see what is this with the help of an example. Supposingly, Mr. X owns 12% debentures of a company called A Limited, and the face value of those debentures rupees 1 lakh. Are these terminologies okay for you? 12% debentures, 12% is called coupon rate. What are debentures? Face value is 1 lakh. So everyone understands that therefore there will be annual income arising from this asset of rupees. Now say no if you are saying yes. So annual income arising from these debentures rupees 12,000. Who owns the debentures? Who should get the interest? Mr. X. But Mr. X has instructed the company that please pay my debenture interest to Y. Now who can be Y? Y can be spouse, parents, children, Rosie, Lucy. That means this debenture interest is going to be received by Y. And here is where section 60 comes into picture and says, even if it is received by Y, even if it is going in the bank account of Y, this interest income is going to be taxable, that is clubbed in the income of the transferor, which in our example is Mr. X. The income will be clubbed in the hands of transferor. Section 60, now that explanation I will give you, will explain section 60 also in the chapter also. Answer what I am asking, only what I am asking. Who owns the debentures? Yes. Before interest, who is owner of debentures? During interest, after interest, all throughout the transaction, end to end, the debentures are owned by? Then who should get interest? Common sense, if you own any asset, whether shares, debenture, property, the income arising from that asset has to go to the owner of the asset. How can one person be owner of the asset and another get income? Why can Mr. X actually give instruction to A Limited for this 12,000? Think about it. If you are A Limited, I am Mr. X, your debenture holder. You must have issued debentures to hundreds of other people. You will be paying interest to all of them. Can I tell you about the other interest, whom to pay, whom not to pay? About the interest that is payable to other debenture holders? No, I can tell you only about this interest because this interest is my interest. I am only diverting it in the name of Y, who will be spouse, parent, children, Rosie, Lucy. And thus we are going to club it in the income of Mr. X. So the interest will be received by Y, but will be taxable for, and that is your chapter, clubbing of income. It is, appears a little surprising, sir. How can this be a case where someone else is earning income, but I am paying tax? The whole idea is that I am only earning the income. I am only trying to show it as that other person's income, and income tax has just caught some such transactions. So when I keep the asset with myself and only divert the income that is arising from that asset, the income will be clubbed in my income only. That is your section 60. You understand? We live in a country called India. Here people don't want to learn the law. People want to do what? Arey, bhul gaya kya? It was only 5 days ka gap, and I was praying that let's hope that some other syllabus does not start. You never know. So you'll remember that we Indians want to find a way out. We Indians found a way out. We have done what? We have done something called revocable transfer of asset. What have we done? Revocable transfer of asset. First focus on this part. Is the asset transfer? That means section 60 is not applicable because 60 is applicable only when you transfer the income while keeping the asset. The moment you transfer the asset, you escape clubbing under 60. Now let us understand how the assessee has tried to escape 60 and how assessee will get caught under 61 with the help of same Mr. X who owns. To keep it simple now, will it be okay with you if I say same debentures? Of course, when I say will it be okay does not mean you have the option of saying no. I'm saying will it be okay, matlab it is okay. You understand same debentures? 12% debentures of A Limited with face value of rupees 1 lakh. These debentures are going to generate an annual interest income of rupees 12,000. Earlier, what was X doing? Keeping the debenture, only transferring the interest. That means you only are the owner. So clubbing was applicable. Now what am I doing? I have transferred these debentures to Y. Y will be again Rosie, Lucy, parents, children, siblings. I have transferred the debenture. Means this time have we transferred the asset itself? That means now who is the legal owner of the asset, the debentures? Obviously, who is going to receive this? Why? Correct? Have I escaped section 60? That's my first question. You have to be clear because 60 is applicable only if asset is retained, only income is diverted. Are we clear that we have this time transferred our asset and therefore 60 cannot apply? But there is a twist here that this transfer of the asset was revocable. Sir, revocable matlab? Sir, revocable ka meaning you have heard in contract. Revocable means something that can be cancelled. Supposingly, I am X, you are Y. I am X, you are Y. I am X, you are Y. Hi Y. X. Take these debentures. Last time I gave only interest. So clubbing is applicable. This time I am giving debentures. Take these debentures. One thing is clear. 60 won't apply. Because 60 applies only if asset is with me. Take these debentures. Happy? Hey why? Happy? But soon I will take it back whenever I want. If I tell you to give interest to A, B, C, D, whoever, you will have to give it to that person. If I tell you to give debentures to P, Q, R, S, you will have to give it to that person. You are only the on paper owner. I will continue to exercise all the decisions on the basis of or with respect to these debentures. Where the debentures will go, where the interest will go, how we will reinvest, which bank account we will keep, everything I will tell you. Substance over form. Once upon a time, students used to understand when I used to tell them that basically Y is Dr. Manmohan Singh and X is Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Name is yours. All decisions will be mine. And therefore, the accounting concept of substance over form. That we are only trying to show that Y is the owner of the debentures. X continues to own the debentures in substance. X continues to exercise control over the debentures, and therefore, because this is a revocable transfer where X continues to exercise control over the asset despite giving the asset, the interest is going to be taxable. That is clubbed once again in the hands of the transferor, Mr. X. So if you give only the income, clubbing will apply in 60. If you give the asset, but you will take it back whenever you want, so clubbing will still apply under 61. Chalega. Because in any case, now all the section numbers are going to change. I will also have to sit and learn all the new section numbers. New income tax bill. Chalega. Say whatever. Say 81. How does it matter? Just to let you know that in your exam, these sections are only applicable. And to let you know one more thing, very disappointing thing, but the truth, that we will be learning the full income tax law here. And every word that we are learning, we have to learn the new thing only in CFA. So for those who had made up their plans, sir, my base has now become so strong that final to I will manage self-study only, sir, because final your lectures are very expensive. Now I have all the authority to make them more expensive also. Because the option between taking an expensive class and not taking a class for a new income tax law, which one is better? Not taking class. Taking expensive class. So fantastic. Wait, first come in final, then we will talk about it. Point is simple. Everyone is clear that if I transfer the income, clubbing is applicable. And if I transfer the asset, but I will take it back whenever I want, then still clubbing is going to be applicable. Everyone is clear. Now you do one thing. If you want to go and check your own house ka papers, your parents must have purchased, your grandparents must have purchased the property from someone. Go clearly check in that agreement it is written that the seller is selling this at a particular consideration. The consideration amount will be mentioned in the agreement, and the seller or any of his legal heirs or descendants after today will never ask for any kind of control, share, or decision making in this property. This will serve as a permanent discontinuance of any kind of decision making authority or ownership about the property. And thus, such transfers are irrevocable transfers. The real sale transactions have to be irrevocable. If I sell something to you and I can cancel whenever I want, that means I have not really sold it to you. Such transfers are revocable. So revocable means seller continues to exercise control. We will apply clubbing. But obviously, irrevocable means seller does not exercise control. The buyer has become the lifetime owner now, and the money will go to the buyer only. Decision will be of the buyer only. Obviously, clubbing will not apply. Clubbing will apply in two cases, 60 and 61. One, I give only income, asset is with me. Second, I give asset, but I will take it back whenever I want. So at least that much you understand, or you want to try by yourself. That, sir, when will clubbing not be applicable? You want to try by yourself? When will clubbing not be applicable? Going by what you have studied in 60 and 61, when will clubbing not be applicable? Anyone wants to try? When the transfer is irrevocable. If the transfer of asset is irrevocable, then clubbing provision will not be applicable. 60 won't apply because we have transferred asset, and 61 won't apply because it is irrevocable transfer. You understand, please? You understand? If I want to escape a 60 and 61 both, then I should do what kind of transfer is my question for you. What kind of transfer I should do? Irrevocable transfer of asset. See, not income, asset. Because asset is transferred, I have escaped 60. And because the transfer is irrevocable, I have also escaped 61. So what is the way of escaping clubbing in 60 and 61? Irrevocable transfer of asset. Everyone is with me? Irrevocable transfer of asset. If X does not want clubbing, what should he do? Irrevocable transfer of asset. Irrevocable transfer of asset. X, stop consuming Pratik stuff. You have brain, you have little common sense, samanya bodham, little. Please understand. Supposingly the debentures are worth 1 lakh. Our example only. The annual income generated by these debentures, 12,000. X is not wanting to pay tax on that 12,000, which is why he is doing all the planning. Supposingly he pays tax on that 12,000. So highest tax will be 30%, 3,600. There are some additional levies like surcharge, cess, etc. Can make that 3,600 up to maybe say 4,000. 1 lakh worth asset, 12,000 worth annual income, on which you want to save 4,000 worth of tax. For that, what will you do? You will give your 1 lakh ka asset free of cost to someone. To save 4,000 ka tax, you are giving your 1 lakh debentures free to someone, and I will never take it back. Irrevocable. See, in the first case, asset remained with me. In the second case, even if the asset is gone, I can take it back whenever I want. But your strategy is what? Irrevocable transfer of asset. I will give my asset only to save 4,000 rupees. And what is value of my asset? 1 lakh. What is value of the annual income? I am ending up giving this all only to save what? 4,000. We call that penny wise, pound foolish. Proverb in English. I once made a video on this, and I said in that video, it was North Indian audience. So I said, तू 4,000 का टैक्स बचाने के लिए अपने 1 लाख के डिबेंचर किसी को दे देगा? Have you lost your brain? What are you saving? 4,000, and you are ending up giving your debentures what? 1 lakh. Have you lost your brain? One of my students from Ahmedabad, क्या creativity? Creativity is having no limit. He saw one of the movies of Ranbir Kapoor. There was this movie Ranbir Kapoor, Katrina Kaif. हाँ sir.
You're doing the extraordinary. I saw both the
हाँ.
extraordinary.
अच्छा.
अभी उसको लाइक करके किसी को और क्या करना है वो मुझे बता दो, मैं वो करेगा.
I'll take your phone and do it.
Extraordinary. You serious? Yes. Please, you must watch. It's a clear, direct message. Superb.
Thank you, sir.
Proud of you. Superb. क्या करना है वो हम करने को तैयार हैं. ये सबका दुनिया देखना चाहिए.
The message should go loud and clear that social media influencers are not going to decide your career. Your parents and teachers will decide your career. So when this generation will understand, no, you'll be able to achieve what we really want.
रणबीर कपूर डिसाइड करेगा. वो दूसरा कौन सा नाम था वो आपने जो बोला
समय राइना, रणवीर अलाहाबादिया.
था वो इसका लड़का नहीं है
नहीं, रणवीर अलाहाबादिया. He is a social media influencer. He makes podcasts. अगर आपको उसको इंटरव्यू देना है तो he will charge 10 lakh rupees for that. But if he takes your interview, so you are going to be known to everyone probably in the country. Okay, what business profession you are in, how you are different from others. So there are दो तीन influencers और CA वाले भी है वो all India rank लाके then they entered in this content creation profession. तो I had no idea कि ये सब में ऐसा होता है कि पैसा देके they take interview. So from my team, they approached him कि you have call a lot of faculties, why don't you call sir also? That he will share his experience of 15 years. तो उसके असिस्टेंट का मैसेज आया कि आपको 3.5 लाख रुपया देना पड़ेगा अगर आपको आना है. Then I said, bro, if I give 3.5 lakh to you, I have budget to give 10 lakh to Ranbir Alabadia because you only are catering to the CA field. He will cater to the whole country, and I can talk on any topic if I have to become that way. I have to come on a podcast, and then no conversation thereafter.
थोड़ा जिन्होंने नहीं देखा है वो you must watch and you must share out your story. Very loud and important message. Very loud and important message. संधू ही नाम है सब बराबर बोला. क्या? कौन? चिंटू. अभी ये अभी छोटा है.
वो अजब प्रेम की गजब कहानी आई थिंक इट वाज वो व्हाट वर द फेमस सॉन्ग इन दैट तेरा होने लगा वो अजब प्रेम की गजब एंड वो तू जाने वाज आल्सो दैट इन दैट मूवी नो रणबीर कपूर का फादर इज अ रेस्टोरेंट ओनर. Okay, I'll explain the backdrop. And he is very sad because he is rejected by Katrina Kaif, and he is like his father tries to make him understand something like this. तू 4 दिन के प्यार के लिए अपनी जान पे खेल रहा है, तू तो मेरा अपना खून है रे. He said something like this. And in my video, what did I say? तू 4,000 का टैक्स बचाने के लिए 1 लाख का डिबेंचर. I hope you remember the story. I said that my student did what? He took Ranbir Kapoor का video. And in that he added my audio. So it is like Ranbir Kapoor is talking in my voice. तू 4,000 का टैक्स बचाने के लिए रणबीर कपूर का फादर in that voice. क्या creativity है. And if that much energy you spend, I told him कि बस only this much energy and sincerity is required to approach your exams, you will get a rank. पक्का है. You don't understand, unfortunately, Gen Z for 100%, and in a big way, millennials also. They don't understand that which direction their energy has to be channelized. There is no limit to the amount of talent, brains or energy you have. You just don't know where to use them. Recently I saw a message, देश का युवा जाग गया. अब ये 2 GB डेटा खत्म करें. All you do every morning is wake up, brush your teeth and exhaust 2 GB data. आपका 1.5 GB कॉल रिसीव. हाँ, तो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, नो वन ट्रांसफर्स क्या एसेट फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट ओनली टू सेव 4,000 रुपीज. एसेट का वैल्यू इज 1 लाख, एनुअल इनकम इज 12,000 एंड यू आर सेविंग व्हाट 4,000. यू विल गिव योर 1 लाख का एसेट टू समवन. करेक्ट है, करेक्ट है. बट देयर इज समवन whom you can give this asset and still suffer no loss. Guess If you give it to spouse, own. If you give your 1 lakh ka asset to your own spouse, then the asset will remain in your house. The income will come in your house, but in the name of your spouse. Spouse. And you will be able to exploit slabs of your spouse. Possible. That means I can somewhere evade tax by doing irrevocable also. But that is a relation specific. See, I don't give my asset free of cost. No one gives to their parents. If you give to your parents, please use your brain. If you give to your parents, then your brother sister will also claim right over it. Only for tax savings. If you give to your grandparents, bro, your uncles will start claiming. You understand or no? You don't give it to your children. As long as you are alive, don't trust your children. Keep your assets with you. Mind one statement very clearly that you will get anything only after I die. The only person whom you may probably transfer your asset and still feel safe is your own spouse. So that will still be covered in a separate section. That will still be covered in a separate section where if you have done transfer of asset to your spouse, whether revocable or irrevocable, clubbing will be applicable. See, revocable in any case, any relation. You understand these two sections, observe them carefully. We have not mentioned the relation of X and Y. Here, Y can be spouse, parents, children, sibling, Rosie, Lucy, neighbor's wife, anyone. And clubbing will be applicable. Because these are those people to whom we will not give our asset permanently. The only person whom we will give our asset permanently is our spouse. Not our parents, not our children, not our siblings also. No matter what is the level of trust. Because there will be other people who will claim right over it. You understand? The spouse will be covered separately under irrevocable also. But as far as revocable transfer is concerned, irrespective of your relation with the transferee, please observe carefully 60-61 together one more time. I have not written any relation between X and Y. Clubbing is going to be applicable irrespective of relation. And the only way to escape 60 and 61 is transfer to your spouse, irrevocable transfer to your spouse. Correct? Other people we won't transfer, and irrevocable transfer to spouse will later be covered in some other section for clubbing purposes. Understood?
परचेज ही उसके नाम पे किया तो
that is considered as transfer. You purchasing asset in the name of spouse is as good as you have transferred, acquired and transferred. You acquire in your name and transfer, or you directly pay the funds to acquire in spouse ka name is one and the same. It is still considered as you have transferred your asset because your funds are being used to acquire that asset. There are planning strategies here. In this, what you can do is transfer some funds from your account in your spouse account as a loan and then show that as her funds and jointly acquire the asset. As the asset generates the income, slowly and gradually repay the loan. We call it settlement of the internal entry. One by one, one by one. You transfer from this account to this account. It does not make difference. All the money is in your control only. So there are ways in which we can plan it. But then, of course, tax planning strategies are not covered. I will still be educating you about some tax planning strategies in course of this chapter. It will be very, very useful for those planning to get married soon. It will be very, very useful for those planning to have children soon. They already have. So it will be useful, but of course, there are ways in which you can escape that as well. Are we clear? So 60-61, everyone clear? And at the end of 60-61, remember two things. One, irrevocable transfer of asset will make me escape both. But two, I won't do to any random person. I will do only to spouse, and that is already covered in some other section also, again for clubbing purposes. With this, we go ahead. Section 64. Subsection 1, clause 2. Section 64, subsection 1, clause 2. Remuneration to, and this time observe carefully, it is clearly mentioned this section is applicable only to spouse. There are two words that you have to be careful about just at the beginning of this section itself. First word is the word remuneration that you have to be very careful about. Second word is the word spouse that you have to be very careful about. Remuneration and spouse are the two words that you have to be very, 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 very careful about. When this section is talking about remuneration, what kind of things fall in the definition of remuneration? Supposingly salary. Is that paid for working? It is remuneration. Professional fees. Is that paid for working? That is remuneration. The word remuneration means when someone pays you for doing some kind of work, it is remuneration. That way, if you understand commission also, commission comes only when you actively work for doing some sales, no? It is remuneration. However, please understand, if you pay interest, that's not for working. If you pay rent, dividend, etc., these are incomes where you make investment and the investment is generating income. That does not fall in the definition of remuneration. Remuneration means work. For working, if you get something. Correct? Eh? And second, the recipient of remuneration has to be spouse. So in 60-61, it can be parents, children, sibling, Rosie, Lucy, anyone. But here it has to be spouse. And be careful about two things. One, your relation is mentioned. So this cannot be anybody else, but this has to be only spouse. This does not require clarification, but my students need it. So in case of any confusion, I clarify that at the outset. But second thing, please focus. Spouse means what? Bol Rushet. What is spouse? Don't blush. What is spouse does not mean. What is wife? If the assessee is male, then wife. You please understand. The assessee in the question can also be a female, and then we are not saying wife. Here the gender is not mentioned. Relation is mentioned, but gender is not mentioned. I want you to understand this very clearly, because in 60-61 no relation was mentioned. Your relation is mentioned, but gender is not mentioned. So this can be, please understand, husband or wife, because it is spouse. Moving forward, there will be a section, please understand, where they are mentioning son's wife. Is the gender mentioned? Then there it has to be son's wife only. It cannot be daughter's husband. Here, gender is not mentioned. See, understand. Chronological. 60-61, relation is not mentioned. It can be. Here, relation is mentioned, but the gender can be anything, husband or wife. And in the other case, the gender is also mentioned. So what is mentioned, you have to be very, very careful about. You are giving remuneration. Remuneration in the sense that salary, professional fees, commission, etc. To whom? To your husband or wife. How does this amount to tax planning or tax evasion strategy? Let us understand with the help of an example. Supposingly, Mr. X has got substantial interest. Mr. X has got substantial interest in a business. Mr. X has got substantial interest in a business. You know what is substantial interest? With the grace of God? God, nahi. I told you. 20% or more with relatives. This can be a proprietorship where Mr. X is a proprietor. This can be a firm where Mr. X has 20% partnership. This can be a company where Mr. X has 20% or more equity shares, 20% or more voting power with your relative. That means, can you exercise some degree of control in this organization? From this organization, we are paying remuneration. So mark the word very, very clearly. We are paying remuneration. We are not talking about interest, rent or dividend. We are paying remuneration, and to whom the relation is clearly mentioned. This time it cannot be any random person. Why? It has to be the spouse. And as I clarified, it can be the other way around, where Mrs. X is having substantial interest and Mr. X is being paid the remuneration. That means, in short, if I have to make you understand, you have a family business where family business is earning profits. The profits have gone beyond a certain threshold that your tax liability is now coming at 30%. So how to save that? there are family members who are not working at all in that organization. We divert profits of our family business by paying them these things like salary, professional fees, etc. You understand? The most important condition here is that this remuneration is being paid for inadequate qualification. Mrs. X does not deserve this. Mrs. X is being paid only because she is a spouse of a substantial owner. If we would have taken the same service from any other random stranger, we wouldn't have paid this much. Why are we paying this? Believe me, here even educational qualification is not relevant. The point is, what is contribution of this spouse in this business? Which will be compared with an outsider's contribution. If an outsider does the same work, how much will you pay that outsider? But you have paid more than that. Why? We actually wanted to send money to his house. But we are already in 30% bracket. So how to send money in his house? Pay here. Money will go in the same house. You understand? This is what most family businesses in the country get done. In the country are doing. Most family businesses in the country are doing this. If caught, the excess, this is important, ladies and gentlemen, the excess will be clubbed. So here what is going to happen is, the exam question is going to clearly indicate before you that remuneration paid to Mrs. X. Mrs. X means spouse of substantial owner is 5 lakh. However, the market value of that service, if we take the same service from a random stranger, then we will pay only 4 lakh. That means till 4 lakh rupees, it is still reasonable to pay your spouse. But how much is excess, the amount more than the market price that you have paid? That excess is going to get clubbed. We won't club the entire amount of 5 lakh. We will club only the amount which is more than the market value of that particular service. Did you understand? Only the excess will get clubbed. Of course, the question will give you the actual amount paid as well as the market value of that service. That way, exam point of view, it becomes very, very easy. But for real life point of view, I want to make a clarification that here, it does not, the decision making does not depend on the educational qualification of the receiver. We have to see the receiver's contribution and compare it with the outsider. The receiver is maybe supposedly only 12th qualified or maybe school dropout, but is handling the entire administration and the day-to-day activity that Mr. X does not even get involved, then will deserve good amount of remuneration. And supposedly the receiver is professionally qualified, but then has her own job, does not even come and do any work in this business, then 1 rupee also is unreasonable. We are not interested in the qualification, we are interested in the contribution. Understand the difference? We are not interested in the qualification of the receiver, we are interested in the contribution of the receiver in this business. Are you understood? So if there is any excess paid more than market price, the excess is going to be clubbed. A very, very important condition therefore is the condition of inadequate qualification. The moment the receiver is putting adequate contribution, there won't be any clubbing, because clubbing applies only on the excess. Is that clear, everyone? And one more clarification, because a good student should always have this doubt. Sir, what if both have substantial interest? Possible, eh? Or both are being paid remuneration. If the remuneration is paid due to adequate contribution, clubbing cannot apply only. This is the most important condition here. If you are fit to get this, if you deserve this, there is no question of clubbing. Clubbing will come only if the amount paid is more than deserving. So this has to be clarified that there is inadequate qualification here. Hello, correct hai? You want to guess what will we do in such a case? Try to karo. If you are understanding the logic, the common sense of why we are, if at all, applying clubbing, why are we applying clubbing? Use your brain. Try and understand. Why should we, or what should we do when both have substantial interest? Try karo. If you have understood the logic of the chapter clubbing, you will actually understand why are we doing this. Try to karo. Nothing is bigger than logic. If both have substantial interest, see, X has substantial interest. मिस ये एसी बंद रखा है क्या, या आपने टेम्परेचर एकदम उसका हाई करके रखा है क्या, गरम गरम करने? जिसको ठंडी लगता है वो स्वेटर पहन के आएगा, मैं बेहोश हो जाएगा। रिमोट भी ये लोग ही छुपा के रखता है। हाँ, यू कीप ऑन वर्किंग, थिंक अबाउट इट। एक्स इज हैविंग सब्सटेंशियल इंटरेस्ट, मिसेस एक्स इज गेटिंग रेम्यूनरेशन, तो एक्स में वी विल डू क्लबिंग। But if both have, तो where should we do the clubbing? Guess तो करो, and believe me, a wild guess also will give you correct answer. Children में clubbing. अच्छा, last lecture तक you were talking about wedding. Now you've reached the children stage also. Okay, one good way of thinking is, sir, disallow it to the company itself. Company is giving, so for company it is expense, no? Disallow. Good. But that applies for all relatives who are not spouse. There is a section in PGBP, 40A subsection 2, go check that. Any relative who is not your spouse, the excess will be disallowed for the business itself. But then, that is not the answer here. One more try. You are almost there. If you still continue to use your common sense, you believe me will get the correct answer. And there is no match of that confidence when you give your correct answer first time without being taught. Or let me give you the hint. It will be merged with either Mr. X or Mrs. X, one of them. None of them are working, no, inadequate है ना, वही तो problem है. और whatever they are working, they are getting paid more than the market price of that work. Try. Have you understood the question? Who will pay tax? If one is getting, other will pay tax. That spouse with higher income, because higher income automatically means higher tax bracket. I hope you understand. So the whole idea is that the income should go at the higher rate. So whichever spouse has got higher tax bracket, automatically merge in. That I told you, you will be able to give the answer by yourself. And clubbing is comparatively an easy chapter compared to heads of income, where we have already completed PGBP capital gain kind of chapter. This is nothing. Simple common sense is going to help you with everything. I'm going to give you more opportunities in course of this chapter to try by yourself. But you all understood? If both have substantial interest, so that spouse with higher income. So whom are you paying? नहीं, चार हो सकते हैं. हाँ, तो whom are you paying? Who is getting paid? नहीं. See, it's not about how many wives you have. It is about whom are you paying the remuneration. Because if you are not paying the remuneration, then the question of clubbing does not arise. If you are paying remuneration but the receiver is contributing enough, then the question of clubbing does not apply. This whole section will apply if you are paying to wife, any of the four, and that person does not deserve it. You understand? Then only the question of clubbing applies. The question is not dependent on how many wives you have. How many you can have? No, you can have as many, bro. So we realize that Akash is about children. Rushad is about wife. Hey Bhagwan. You understood? It's about whom are you paying. Haan, so both have substantial interest. This is the answer. This is the answer. Answer either. Both have substantial interest. If they are members of HUF, both have substantial interest. Now we see who is paid the remuneration. And last and the most important step, does the receiver deserve it? If the receiver deserves it, the topic is over. If the receiver does not deserve it, so whoever has got higher income, that person ka individual income other than this income, whoever has higher income, of course, I must specify, whoever has got higher income before clubbing. See, after adding the clubbed amount, anyone can become higher. Before clubbing, whoever has got higher income, that person is going to be adding this clubbed income in his or her income. Clear? Hai? Shall we go ahead? Clubbing of income. Next, section 64, subsection 1, clause 4. So the previous one was clause 2. This is clause 4. Hello. Please learn clause 4 properly. It is big, but easy. Please give it respect, importance and attention. If you do clause 4 properly, so your clause 6, your clause 7, your clause 8 are all taken care of. This one clause is the size of 4, but these 3 are over in this. If you do 4 properly, you are done with 6, 7, 8 here itself. Are you understanding this? So section 64, subsection 1, clause 4. Everyone is with me? Asset transferred to your spouse, where you will notice and understand 2 things. 1, this time are we mentioning the relation? That means this cannot be any random Rosie Lucy. This cannot be parents, siblings. This cannot be, sorry. This section is applicable only when you transfer your asset to your own spouse. Hello. But then, while relation is mentioned, you again observe gender is not mentioned. So tell me one thing. If the transfer is husband to wife, first wife? If the transfer is from husband to wife, is this section applicable? If the transfer is wife to husband, is this section applicable? Matlab both ways, this section will be applicable because gender is not mentioned. And a very, very important thing, that this transfer that we are talking about has to be irrevocable transfer, because if it was revocable transfer, then you transfer to your spouse or anybody's spouse, you are already covered under section 60. At that time only I discussed with you that the only way in which you can escape 60 and 61 is irrevocable, but that you won't do to random strangers, that you will do only to your own spouse, because the asset will remain in your house. Please understand the whole idea. Asset remains in my house even if I give it forever. Income is coming in my house. Only tax is coming at a lower rate because of spouse ka tax slabs. You understand? You understand? If you want to understand with the help of example, Mr. X, which can also be Mrs. X, is transferring, if you remember, the same debentures to whom? Mr. X will transfer to Mrs. X, or if it is Mrs. X, then she will transfer to Mr. X. Other options are legal, but let's not get into that discussion right now. And this yes. Other options are allowed. You may go and avail those options, but this transfer is irrevocable. If it was revocable, then the relationship is irrevocable. This transfer is irrevocable. Have you transferred your asset? Have you escaped section 60? Achha, let me ask like this. Have you escaped section 60? Why? Asset is given. Have you escaped 61? Yes. Why? Irrevocable. But you are still evading tax because asset is in your house. Your house. Income is coming in your house. But you are still escaping tax. So, this time, because the receiver is your spouse, whatever is the income that is getting generated here, which we know will be interest, but debenture is an example. It could have been shares and dividend. I hope you understand. The income will be received by this assessee, but will be taxable for the transferor. That means revocable transfer, any transfer, there will be clubbing, but irrevocable transfer to spouse, then there will be clubbing. You understood? subject to the following points to be noted. The main section is over, but you have to be very clear about the following points to be noted. Whenever you transfer your income generating asset, to your own spouse without any consideration, you got to understand that if I take consideration, that means I am showing it as sales and I am paying tax on capital gains. If I am paying tax on capital gain, I can transfer it to my spouse, your spouse, anybody's spouse. You can't prohibit me from doing that. I am paying tax on capital gain. But what am I doing? I am doing this transaction for something called an inadequate consideration. Now is where you will realize the importance of the section. I once again make it clear that if I take adequate consideration, am I paying tax on capital gains? Then you can't apply clubbing. It's a sale and I can sell it to anyone I want. You can't stop me from doing that. But if I take inadequate, think about this situation. If I take inadequate, that means am I showing proper capital gains? No. Am I paying proper tax on capital gains? No. The asset still remains in my house in someone else's name. Income still comes in my house. But I am trying to save tax on that income by exploiting spouse ka slabs. Not allowed. So if you take adequate consideration, clubbing not applicable. Then wife only will pay. Matlab transfer will only pay tax. But if you take inadequate consideration, then clubbing will pay. And one more condition. And means cumulative. We have studied this before. I don't know how many people remember. There is no agreement to live apart. No agreement to live apart in simple language. Slip of tongue. Slip of tongue. In simple language, they are living together. If you have agreement to live apart, means you are living separately. But if there is no agreement to live apart, that means therefore we have to give simple language. New income tax bill, simple language. 622 pages. To make the law simple. 554 sections. To make the law simple. 16 schedules instead of the existing 14 schedules. To make the law simple. But as influencers have already started. So आज मैं आपके लिए लाया हूँ news. The previous year assessment year has been deleted. It will be called tax year. And auntie is wondering, first let me present in the parliament. Parliament I have not presented. Parliament has not discussed. Parliament has not passed. It is still a bill. It is not an act. Influencers doing it is understandable. There are qualified chartered accountants who are forwarding videos on it, who are forwarding PDF. New income tax bill. As somebody who studied 10th standard civics, should know that whenever any minister brings any proposal in the parliament, it has to be passed by both houses of the parliament and assented by the president to become a law. I still did not take any risk and told you about this in my first lecture itself. That there is a difference between bill and act. But surprisingly enough, qualified professionals do not have the patience and they are over enthusiastic about forward. Sometimes I believe that internet should become expensive again. Very expensive again. And let it be used for the purpose why it was made. Some of us celebrated when TikTok was banned. TikTok wasn't. We used to have a very offensive reference to TikTok. We used to say, वो 5+1 लोगों के लिए. I can't, exactly say it. Then those who have understood, please explain the others in the break. वो 5+1 वाले लोग. वो maths कर ले, you'll come to know. नहीं, समझा? Fantastic. You have any WhatsApp group of yours, then right now only, so that people, those who still have, the pogo kind of people here, the pogo wala people here, so that they are still, coming out of their confusion, they will still be thinking about it. TikTok went, people were like, wow, Shanti, not realizing that that has now converted into YouTube Shorts and Insta Reels. Hey Bhagwan. So listen. You have transferred your asset to your spouse and you all are living together. That means the income is coming in the same house as you. So we will apply clubbing. Supposingly you separate, and in course of separation you are giving these debentures, then that transfer to spouse is not for tax evasion, it is for peace of mind. But it's separation, no? Peace of mind. Take these debentures and leave me alone. Then clubbing can't apply. Use your brain. Why clubbing cannot apply? Because you all have separated, living in different houses. So the debentures are in your transferee's house. The interest is coming in that house, which is different from yours. Then clubbing can't apply. Clubbing will apply if you all are living together. No agreement to live apart. The same thing we studied in income from house property. If these two conditions are fulfilled, then the transferor will be treated as deemed owner. Means will not consider only your wife as the owner. But that we can apply only for house property. In house property, if the same thing happens, then this person will be treated as the deemed owner. So in any case, you will have to pay tax. But then house property chapter applies only to house property. House property chapter cannot apply to debentures. Hello? So this will apply to all assets excluding house property. Because in house property, if the same thing you do, you are only considered as deemed owner. But in case of shares, debentures, etc., we will apply clubbing. Ultimate effect will be same. The transferor will pay tax on the rent also because deemed owner, or the debenture interest also because of clubbing. But the conditions are same. Sir, what are the conditions? Inadequate consideration and living together. So be clear. Supposingly I take adequate consideration to transfer my debentures. I show the capital gain and I pay the tax on them. So no need to do any kind of clubbing. Hello. Correct? Or if I do inadequate consideration, but we separate. Bro, under separation, you can't take consideration. You can't in alimony say that take my asset but give me money. So where is the alimony? That is inadequate consideration only. But then you all have separated. So clubbing won't apply. That means what are the two conditions for clubbing to apply? Inadequate consideration, living together. Inadequate consideration, living together. Then clubbing provisions are going to be applicable. First condition clear. So like this, we will cover all the other points. And one more time, I would like to remind you, if you do clause 4 properly, so 6, 7, 8 will be taken care of. Second, this section will apply only to individual. Thank you very much. Sir, HUF can't have spouse. Obviously, HUF can't have spouse. Check. Sorry, check. Sorry. See, please don't be offended. But because you were sitting right in front of me, so I just, in the moment, in the heat of the moment, said, check. Legally you're not allowed to open HUF. You are aware of that, no? Because Hindu Succession Act is Hindu, Jain, Sikh and Buddhist. So there is no Parsi undivided family, Christian undivided family, Muslim undivided family. That is not allowed. By the way, HUF is created for tax evasion only. Now that you understand, HUF will get separate slabs. So anybody who follows Hinduism, Jainism, Sikhism, Buddhism diverts their income in the name of their HUF to exploit slabs one more time. But then what do I do, bro? It is not in my control. I understand that. Let's conclude by saying India is not a country for minorities. What else can we say? Parsi, Christian, Muslim minorities. Whereas Jains are also classified in minorities, but they follow Hindu succession. Buddhist and Sikh also, but they follow Hindu succession. So point is that they want to force Hindu Succession Act. Unless and until they bring something called Uniform Civil Code, we will have to wait and watch. But for now, this section can apply only to individual, because at least, forget about HUF. But you understand, companies can't get married, they can only amalgamate. So this section is applicable only to individual. The relation which is specified in this section. What is the relation which creates or triggers this section? Spouse, that means husband and wife. Transferor and transferee has to have that relation, husband to wife or wife to husband. That relation should be in existence on 2 occasions. Then only this section will apply. Otherwise, the section cannot apply. In order for clubbing to apply, you have to be husband-wife, then only, because here relation is mentioned. In 60-61, wife could have been anybody, Rosie, Lucy also. But here have the mentioned spouse. That means you have to be husband and wife. When When do you have to be husband and wife? There are two occasions on which you have to be husband and wife. Then only this section is applicable, otherwise not applicable. And believe me, a wild random guess also will give correct answer. Guess kar. First, at the time of transfer. You should be husband and wife at the time of transfer. Then clubbing is applicable. And you should be husband and wife at the time when the income is getting generated. Then only this section will be applicable. If you are husband and wife at the time of transfer and income, then clubbing is applicable. Supposingly you are not husband and wife at the time of transfer, so it is not transfer to spouse. The section can't get activated. Supposingly you were husband and wife at the time of transfer, but now you are no longer husband and wife. So when the income is coming, you are not husband and wife. It is not in the same household. So again, clubbing won't apply. For clubbing to apply, you have to be husband wife. When the asset is transferred and when income is generated. Understand? Supposingly Rushed becomes qualified chartered accountant, very successful in his career. If he focuses on career other than what he focuses present days, very successful chartered accountant. So he has a PA, personal assistant, secretary called Rosie. Rushed, I forgot your surname. Unwala. Umatia. Umatia. This is pronounceable. Umatia. I pronounced it correct. Rushed Umatia. And there is Rosie, a PA. Now one day Rushed transfers some assets like gold chain, debentures, some income shared, some income generating assets to Rosie, the PA. And then Rosie becomes Mrs. Umatia. So now when the income is being generated, are they husband and wife? Yes. But at the time of transfer, they were not husband and wife. No clubbing. No clubbing. She became wife only because of this transfer. But when the transfer took place, at that time there was no such relation. No. There won't be any clubbing. You understand? Because you have to be husband and wife at the time of transfer. Example 2. Rushed is very smart. He knows, okay, what if I transfer and then she says no? So he first convinces her to become Mrs. Umar. She becomes his wife. Then he transfers. That means, is the husband-wife relation in existence at the time of transfer? Yes. But now that she is married to him and she comes to know how he is, she separates from him before the interest comes or the dividend comes, whatever be the asset. Debenture was an example. That means at the time of income, you all are no longer husband and wife. No clubbing. For clubbing to apply, you have to be husband and wife at the time of transfer and at the time of income, both. Correct? Eh? As funny as this may sound, Rushed, because he's always under question mark, how long she will stay with him when she comes to know him. But in normal cases, I'll give you a big tax planning strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Tax planning strategy obviously is not covered in the batch. I get paid only to teach direct tax for exam purposes, and that is also too less. So tax planning can never be a part of it. But once in a while, when I am in my zone, I definitely do it. I'll give you one idea. Whenever you want to transfer any asset to your spouse, so that income comes in the name of spouse. Correct? And still you don't have clubbing to exploit spouse ka slabs. So do the transfer before becoming husband. That day when you get engaged, transfer your income generating assets to your fiancé. Spouse? No? Transfer your income generating assets. Correct? Right? And then later when you become husband and wife, income will come. At the time of income, you are husband and wife. But clubbing won't apply lifetime. Because at the time of transfer, you were not husband and wife. Understood the tax planning strategy here? Transfer at the time of engagement. This teaches us about the age-old customs and traditions. In an Indian household, whenever a couple gets engaged, you often see both sides of families giving a lot of gifts, monetary and non-monetary, to each other. The whole idea is a tax planning strategy. That till the time they don't become husband wife, let's do that. Abhi, see, the ones who started it were aware of this provision. They said, let's transfer now so that clubbing won't apply lifetime. Generations kept on adopting this. Then, due to black money, etc., cash form of business came. So the gifts are not being recorded anywhere. But the idea was at the time of engagement transfer so that we can escape clubbing. But now modern days have modern problems. You transfer at the time of engagement. Rushed only, supposingly gets engaged. At that time transfers. Now you have a period called courtship. Engagement period, courtship. आप में क्या बोलते हैं? नहीं, ऐसा कुछ बोलते ही नहीं. तो डायरेक्ट मैरिज होता है, देयर इज नो एंगेजमेंट. नहीं, जस्ट फॉर माय नॉलेज आई वांट टू. एंगेजमेंट नहीं होता है. बट दैट इज कॉल्ड कोर्टशिप ओनली. गूगल कर. The engagement period is called courtship period. Is basically the time where you would always prefer to go to 5-star hotels. It's the only time in your life where you go to 5-star hotels. So engagement period होता है. It comes in everyone's life. Point is you transfer your assets at that time so that you can escape this. No, but it comes with two risks. Risk number one. Okay, the receiver is not yet a spouse, so receiver ka income from other sources will get triggered. Gift is exempt if received from relative. Fiancé does not fall in the definition of relative. So for receiver it will be taxable under IFOS. You understand the risk of transfer at the time of engagement, correct or no? And there is one more risk. Look at Rushed and guess the risk. See, instant answer hai. Because they know Rushed. Sir, what if the engagement gets cancelled? The moment I said look at Rushed and guess, instant answer. You understood the first risk? If you see, I gave you tax planning strategy to escape clubbing. What did I tell you? Don't transfer at the time of marriage or after marriage. Transfer at the time of engagement. With that, you will escape the first condition. There won't be lifetime clubbing. But two risks. Risk number one, receiver will have IFOS. Risk number two, after engagement, what if the receiver runs away? And in case of Rushed, the probability also, please understand, is very, very high. Now, 99.9. पहले से 4 करके थे. Bro, all 4 will run away. You are Rushed after all. गरम हो रहा है ना? All 4 will run away. करना है. Focus, huh? Focus. AC का work will be taken care of. You focus. I am giving you now one strategy. देखो, planning strategy won't be repeated. Huh? This is not exam explanation. One strategy that will help Rushed escape both issues. Do not transfer any gift during your courtship period, engagement period. Wait for your wedding day. Wait for your wedding day. And now you understand, in Indian households, lots and lots of gifts are given to each other on the wedding day itself. The whole idea is, during the wedding day, transfer whatever you have to before the rituals are over. So, if Rushed has to say Kabul hai thrice, after the first Kabul hai or the second Kabul hai, tell your priest, sir, time please. Or supposingly, if I talk about my wedding, believe me, my wedding, I don't know why Bollywood says you have to take 7 circles around the holy fire. It is not 7, we take 4 only. I don't know about you, but we take 4 only. And the priest, no, in my wedding, the Panditji, he was PhD scholar. He had studied PhD, he had done diploma, and but he found a better career option in this. Because in diploma, you are an employee. In this field, you do come and chant mantras for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. People pay you 40,000-50,000 for that 1 hour, and they touch your feet and take blessings also. People pay you also, and they worship you also. So Panditji found a better career option here, but he was very good at, general knowledge. He was told by the family members that both the bride and the groom are qualified chartered accountants. Suddenly what happened? There was this event manager. Panditji called for a mic. Mic do. Like, what is he doing? he started explaining the meaning of every circle in English language. Logic. Someone must have told him that ये logic वाला professor. In English. But because he was, he took his education in Rajasthan. So his English was very North Indian kind of English. The meaning of this circle is that the groom promises the bride that I will stay away from all forms of intoxication and I will never come home in an inebriated state. Is a promise that you are making. So do you say yes? After taking the circle, is asking me, do you promise that you will stay away from all forms of intoxication? In front of my family members, her family members, everyone. And I have the option of saying yes or no. Anxiety, people are asking, sir, what did you say then? I told Panditji, come here. See, Panditji, in our first meeting, when we met for the first time, arranged marriages in Marwadis are very funny, I must tell you. I clearly told her about what intoxication I am into, what I am not into. And the limits also. The minimum, the maximum, the frequency, how often, how regularly, how irregularly, when yes, when not, outside Mumbai on a picnic, etc. And my next thing was, you join me if you want to. You don't join me if you don't want to. Don't tell me to stop. Say no if you're not comfortable. And these are my things. If you have any of your things, so you can let me know. Again, I will decide if I have to join or not join. And I will decide whether I am okay with that or no. The option is to say yes or no here. If I am okay with it, I will say yes. Otherwise, I will say no. Both of us are qualified professionals. We understand what is importance of our health also. At the same time, once in a while, certain things within limit are okay. So I so clearly told you say you have the option of saying yes or no. And you have the option of telling your parents that the boy does all this, so no. Your parents will come and tell my parents, I will sort it out. I am very open. New relations cannot be started on the basis of a lie. I clearly told her. So we had discussed this. That once in a while. That also, most likely both of us will go together only. My mom often asks me, evening time if I am going out, why are you not taking the car? Why are you booking a cab? How to explain it to mom why I am booking a cab? While I am okay with certain things, I also have some principles. So cab means cab only. Now what to, I just say, no, Sham ka time traffic, so not comfortable. Bro, from Lalbagh to Lower Parel, it is one bridge. There is not much traffic that is going to cause hindrance. But then we don't have to get into those details. At the end of the second circle, supposingly I tell Panditji, time please. I have something important to say. For a moment, everyone will be taken aback because Bollywood has, put all the gobar in our brains. In Bollywood, they show that the bride or the groom is running away from the wedding and etc. or cancelling the wedding while the wedding is going on. We see newspaper reports recently, a girl cancelled her wedding because the boy had low CIBIL score. You read the news or no? CIBIL is basically your credit worthiness. You had low CIBIL score, the girl cancelled the wedding on the wedding day. In Maharashtra. Weird but true. So I said, Panditji, I want to transfer some income generating assets. Chartered accounting, tax plan. Some income generating assets. The wedding rituals are not over, so it is not transferred to spouse. Hello? That means no clubbing. Till now, this relation has not come into existence. No clubbing lifetime. And that risk, two risks, no. One, receiver ka IFOS won't come, even if not relative. This is on the occasion of marriage. So that gift will not be taxable. And second, the probability of running away from here. See, it is ultimately me, not Rushet. The probability from running away from the wedding ground is too less unless you are watching 3 Idiots movie where Kareena Kapoor runs away from the wedding. 3 Idiots movie, Kareena Kapoor, last scene, wedding as she runs away. Bro, only Bollywood can show that. Where the bride or the groom running away from the wedding itself. So the probability of running away from there, again, if it is Rushet, dekho. See, You know person to person which person you are talking about. So the suggestion is stop your wedding celebration in between when you are halfway down the process. Of course, before that, before your wedding date, attend a few weddings and so that you come to know when you are halfway. नहीं तो you will not know when is half time. When it is half time and you just, the priest is condemned, suddenly he says, okay, wedding complete. Then planning won't work. So you should know when it is half time because he won't give a break. You have to stop him. Stop him. Do your transfer. Let the world know that you are a chartered accountant. You escape clubbing, you escape IFOS, you escape the running away problem. All problems have solution. Transfer asset to your spouse on your wedding day. And I think together we have taken one oath also in class. We have, no? I will marry only a chartered accountant, nobody else. Our talent should not go to outsiders. And if you already have a non-CA in mind, first of all, the probability of that person saying yes to you is already too less, unless you have confirmed. So, ये fact है, देखो, you have to understand. So, first of all, drop that plan. This course will give you better options. Believe me. Not that you come and tell me, sir, कुछ है तो बताओ ना, sir. This is not my side activity. Okay? You find out by yourself, but find within the profession. And both of all have similar lives, so you'll understand the pressure of each other. Doctor marries only doctor. CA should marry only a CA. And you still don't want to change the person, then bring the person to me. Making CA is my guarantee. Confirm it. My guarantee, I will make that person CA. Before you or after you, how does it matter? Ultimately, you are interested in a chartered accountant. Making that person CA is my responsibility. And if the person feels equally for you, so will take all my instructions seriously and sincerely, then becoming CA ka probability in any case will increase. But first you also take me seriously and become CA, then only it will work. Nahi to you never know. You bring that person becomes sincere because loyalty towards you is higher and you are only stuck behind. Bro, that person will ditch you for someone else. And I know you are thinking, sir, acha chalu rakho. No, bro. You understood the relationship should be on two occasions. That is on the occasion of transfer and at the time of generation of income. Everyone is clear? You have some person in mind? He or she? You have some person in mind. Not in mind, still you are saying she? Matlab after class. So if by chance she is saying no, bring her to me. I will try to convince her. There is only one slight risk involved here. Slight risk. If I try to convince and I start talking, the probability of she getting convinced for me is much higher. Then you are obviously, don't bring her to me. You are at an unnecessary risk. She would probably get convinced for me. You are already at risk. So try to convince by yourself. But in case she doesn't, first statement that I will make is, see, this is not for me. This is for Karan. I'll start with that. Still she gets convinced for me, I can't do anything. Go, I know I have my charm. What do I do? Bro, section 64, subsection 1, clause 4. Asset transfer to spouse, 2 conditions, inadequate consideration and living together. Same here, bro. The relationship should be on 2 occasions. That is at the time of transfer and at the time of income. 1 second. Relationship should be on 2 occasions. That is at the time of transfer and at the time of income. Everyone is clear about that? Moving on. Next. Clubbing provisions will be applicable even on capital gains. Till now, what was happening? The debentures which were transferred were generating interest. But now there is an addition to the story. Let's start with this. Mr. X, remember, gave his debentures to Mrs. X. Assuming that all the above conditions are fulfilled, so debenture interest was getting clubbed. Now, is it possible that Mrs. X has sold the debentures? So, which income will arise? This capital gain also will be clubbed, that is taxable for Mr. X. That means the running income will be clubbed plus the profit on sale of asset will also be clubbed. So, you have to mentally understand that the transferor only is the owner. Clubbing will apply on the interest and clubbing will also apply on the capital gains. You are understanding this? Fantastic. Next, clubbing will also be applicable even on change in form of asset. Clubbing will be applicable even on change in form of asset. Sir, what do you mean by this? Mr. X gifted what? Debentures. Is debenture interest clubbed? Yes. If the debentures are sold, will the capital gain be clubbed? Yes. Now there is money lying with Mrs. X. What is she doing? Example continued. Please understand. The money from debenture sale means, can I say the sale consideration of debenture? Supposingly she has invested in FD. So this time what interest she will generate? What income she will generate? FD interest. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, this interest will also be clubbed. If we don't club this, then how easy it will be to escape clubbing? Gift one asset and tell the receiver to sell that and buy something else. The asset that you gift, that income will be clubbed. The profit on sale of that asset will be clubbed. And that money, if invested somewhere else, will also be clubbed. You keep on changing the asset. Now, from FD, you again buy shares. So, dividend will be clubbed. With the shares sale money, you again buy property. So, rent will be clubbed. Till the time that original asset is changing its form, the income generated from that original asset, new form, will continue to be clubbed. Is that clear? So, clubbing will apply on revenue income. Clubbing will apply on capital gains. Clubbing will apply if the sale consideration of that asset is invested in something else. Then also clubbing is going to be applicable. क्या हुआ? Example continue. Okay. हाँ. Transfer करने के बाद shares में convert होगा. Convertible debentures. So it is that asset only. No, same point is applicable. That debenture is getting converted into क्या bro? The same point is going to be applicable. Understood? Hello? It is one and the same. But just that this time there won't be any sale consideration ka capital gain. Instead of interest, there will be dividend. Day one, it will be clubbed. Correct? Hai? Next. Clubbing will also apply on indirect transfer of asset. Clubbing will also apply on what, bro? Indirect transfer. Sir, ये क्या होता? Sir, please understand. If Mr. X is transferring an asset to Mrs. X, assuming all other conditions are fulfilled, inadequate consideration, living together, relation on two occasions, clubbing is applicable. Don't transfer your asset directly to your spouse. Idea. I'll give you two examples of this. Example 1. Supposingly there is Mr. X and he has got one Mrs. X. For now, Russell, one only. And there is Mr. Y. He also has one Mrs. Y. If there is any transfer from X to Mrs. X or Y to Mrs. Y, will the clubbing provisions be applicable? Yes, because you are transferring asset to your spouse. So you want to guess how they are escaping this clubbing provision, both Mr. X and Y. Akshay Kumar. You've seen Akshay Kumar's meme? You know, by the way, that scene is from a Bollywood movie called Ajnabi. Ajnabi ka storyline, I don't know whether you've heard about. Ajnabi was multi-star cast. It had Akshay Kumar, Kareena Kapoor, the Lord Bobby Deol, and it was first movie of Bollywood actress Bipasha Basu. The storyline of that movie was, I'll tell you, that Akshay Kumar and Bobby Deol are neighbors. And Akshay Kumar's wife Bipasha Basu, Bobby Deol's wife Kareena Kapoor, they are newly married. Because they are neighbors, they become close friends. And one day suddenly Akshay Kumar comes and requests Bobby Deol, let's exchange our wives. That is when he in the movie did this, and that is 2 decades ago that movie came. Today that is one of the most popular memes on social media. For example, Maharashtra, CM, Deputy CM. You know what happened in Maharashtra? CM, Deputy CM ka exchange took place. You know what exchange offer is going on? Whenever there is an exchange offer anywhere, you'll always see this. That basically scene originated from there, but then taking inspiration from Akshay Kumar, Mr. X and Mr. Y transfer the assets not directly to their own spouse, but indirectly. I'll explain how. Please understand. Mr. X ka asset comes here, and from here it comes back to his wife. Or alternatively, you can say Mr. Y ka asset comes here, from here it comes back to his wife. That means both of them are transferring their asset to their own wife, their own spouse through somebody else. That amounts to cross transfer. Clubbing will apply on this also. There is going to be some income that will be generated on their respective assets. Whatever income they are generating, the income is going to be clubbed. Of course, to the extent of common transfer. Sir, what do you mean by this? Supposingly, Mr. X gives 10 lakh rupees and Mr. Y gives 12 lakh rupees. So, this lady will get income on 12 lakh and this lady will get income on 10 lakh. That 10 lakh ka common amount will be clubbed. That extra amount is not a cross transfer. That amount will not be clubbed. 10 lakh will also generate interest and that 2 lakh will also generate. But what is the common transfer from the respective spouses? 10 lakh rupees. Only that much ka income is going to be clubbed. The excess amount ka income will not be clubbed. And if you want to not keep it so complicated and keep it very simple in life, very simple, X transfers an asset to Y and Y transfers that asset to Mrs. X. Story is over. While it looks like it is not transferred to spouse, but bro, it is transferred to spouse, not directly, but indirectly, it still happens to be transferred to spouse. Not directly, but indirectly, it happens to be transferred to spouse. Do you understand this? Hello, everyone, clear hai? That, ladies and gentlemen, is your clubbing on indirect transfer. That means, listen, clubbing will apply on first revenue income, clubbing will apply on capital gains, clubbing will apply on change in form of asset, and clubbing will also apply on indirect transfer. But clubbing will not be applicable on accretion to income. Clubbing will not apply on accretion. Clubbing will apply on capital gains. Clubbing will apply on indirect transfer. Clubbing will apply on change in form of asset. But clubbing won't apply on accretion. Clubbing won't apply on accretion. If it is a case of accretion, no clubbing. Correct hai? Let's go to point number 8. No. What do you want to know? What do you mean by? Okay. 3 examples to make you understand accretion. You should remember this till your next birth now if your CA does not get over by then. 3 examples. Okay. Example 1. If you are reinvesting the income of original asset, so please understand, X gifted what to his wife? Debenture. The debenture ka interest, do you understand, is going to be received by Mrs. X, but clubbed here. Now, please everyone focus. While the debenture interest ka taxability goes here, in whose custody is this interest? It is with Mrs. X. For tax, we are adding in the income of X, but the money is with whom? Do you understand that the interest which is received here will be in her bank account? Now, do you understand this interest that she has generates some income? This money simply lying in your bank account can generate saving account interest. I am not talking about debentures. Please understand. 1 lakh ka debenture he has gifted. 12,000 interest income received. Received by whom? Mrs. X. Tax who will pay? Mr. X. But in the physical custody of in the bank account of Mrs. X. So the 12,000 lying in the bank account will generate more interest. Supposingly 12,000 Mrs. X gives to someone as loan. So that will generate, whenever she invests this 12,000, there will be income. That income will be received also by Mrs. X and taxable also here, because this is accretion. Please, there is one mistake which a lot of students make, and this only you should be clear here itself. Please understand. There was this original asset gifted. That original asset changing multiple forms. Mrs. X sells debentures, buys FD. Or that with that FD money buys shares. Sells shares again, buys property. That original asset continuously changing its form. Clubbing will apply. Change in form of asset. But that original asset ka income which is lying with the transferring is not gifted from husband. That is her income. That she is investing on the basis of her decisions. And that income on income is called accretion. Original asset ka income will be clubbed. Original asset if sold, then capital gain will be clubbed. With that sale money, another asset acquired, that also will be clubbed. But the income which is being clubbed, if reinvested, that is accretion. You got to be very clear about change in form of asset and accretion ka difference. Are you clear about that? You know, if you may allow me to speak like this, basically we won't do compounded clubbing. Original ka, irrespective of form, we keep on clubbing the income. But the income on income, we won't be clubbing that. That income amount will be separate. 1 lakh is separate, 12,000 is separate. 1 lakh changing multiple forms, debenture to FD, FD to shares. 1 lakh ka income will be clubbed. But that 12,000, if invested at various places, that is accretion, that won't be clubbed. Understood the difference between change in form of asset and accretion? But I have two more examples to make it clear. Second example, okay. X gives, supposingly, shares to Mrs. X. So what income shares will generate? Dividend. Who will receive? But who will pay tax? Because this is clubbing. But then one fine day what happened was X received bonus shares. The bonus shares will also generate dividend. The dividend that comes from the bonus shares will be received so obviously by Mrs. X and taxable also for Mrs. X, because these bonus shares are also accretion. What was gifted? Original shares. Original shares continuously changing their form. Clubbing will apply. But another asset which comes because of that, whether it is the income on income, whether it is any bonus on that original asset, all that won't be club. Basically, we are not going to do any kind of compounded clubbing. Only the original asset ka continuous income will be clubbed, even if form is changed. Understood? Bonus ka income won't be clubbed, only original ka income, because bonus also will be considered as accretion. And third example will make it very, very clear to you. Supposingly X gives a cow to Mrs. X. Supposingly X gives what? A cow to Mrs. X. The cow ko Mrs. X is using to do milk business. Mrs. X will start a business of selling milk from this cow. Is the original asset gifted by husband? Yes. Who will receive this income? But the income will be taxable for Mr. X. Correct hai? Everyone? Hello? This example is purposely done also to make you understand that throughout the chapter we are taking example of debentures, but debenture is not the only asset that is going to trigger clubbing. IFOS is not the only head where clubbing can come. Clubbing can come in PGBP also. Clubbing can come in capital gains also. Clubbing can come in salary also. Remember remuneration to spouse? Clubbing can happen in any head of income. Okay. Now what happened was this cow gave birth to calf का there are two meanings. One is we do in the gym, no, ऐसे calf वो ऐसे calf races वो you do that calf races 50 how many calf races at one time? हाँ तो ऐसा बोला जैसे कि just you didn't kill. हाँ तो घर पे भी at one time how many? As easy as it may sound, you have to stand with the support of the ball and raise your heels on your toes. Raise, bring them down, but don't touch the ground. Try doing 20. First 5, 10 तो you'll say, sir, easy है. ऐसा you just have to raise your. After 25, bro, till 30, every raise will feel like 10 pieces. And that also there are 3 ways. One is straight, second is toes facing inside, and third is toes facing outside. 50, 50, 50. That calf is not what we are talking about. Itna attention se don't listen to this. Arey legs mein, see, understand. The part above the knees is called thighs. Front side, back side pe it is called hamstring. And the part below your knees on the back side, just above your heels, is called calf. It is not that calf. This is baby cow. हाँ क्या? बछड़ा. What is baby cow calf called in Malayalam? Ravan. Rav. Krav. Trav. KDAV. Kadav. 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 We'll practice at home. And Tamil में होगा कुछ. Mad. That is easy. Just accent में it's not mad. It's mad. For the moment I develop the accent, हो जाए. Kadav and mad. ठीक है. We are talking about that calf. Calf will also generate milk business. Here also there is going to be PGBP. Who is going to receive? And also taxable for Mrs. X. Everyone understood? Hello? Fantastic. So this is called accretion, and on accretion there will be hello, no club, no club. Everyone is clear? Last point. If gift is in money and that money is invested in business, example, husband has gifted wife 5 lakh rupees with which she starts a business. That means this time the gifted amount will generate an income called PGBP. But my question is, can in this business the wife too have her own sources? Yes. Hello? So, own funds also she has. Say 10 lakh rupees. So, if I ask you what is the total investment in the business? 15 lakh. With this investment in this business, is the wife going to generate an income called PGBP? The full year ka PGBP supposingly came to 3 lakh rupees. I am taking 20% return on investment, which is reasonable enough. Now, this 3 lakh ka profit generated in the business, we have to decide who will pay tax. Because a portion of investment was given by husband. But then, are you clear about this? This does not even require explanation that full 3 lakh won't be clubbed. And full 3 lakh means some amount will be clubbed. You want to guess that word? There is going to be proportionate. There is going to be proportionate clubbing. Proportionate matlab we will take in some ratio. Now guess the ratio on the basis of investment. The clubbing will be on the proportion of investment. That means, can I say 5 by 15, 10 by 15? The clubbing will be on 5 by 15 ka ratio. But last and very, very important, and this will decide your exam marks, because institute is testing on this. The proportion will be taken on the first day of the previous year. We will take proportion on the first day of the previous year. Supposingly first day of the year, wife starts her business. Then in May, June, July, August, September, etc., somewhere in the middle of the year, the husband is gifting this. No clubbing. No clubbing. Clubbing will apply only if the gift was given at the beginning of the year. You have to see the ratio on the first day of the previous year. Any gift given in course of the year won't be considered here. Is that clear? So, I actually did not have to explain that there will be proportionate clubbing. Of course, when we say proportionate, we will take on the basis of investment. That means in this example, 5 by 15, 10 by 15 also everyone understood. Clubbing will be 5 by 15 because husband ka gift proportion. But this 5 and 10 you will check not during the year but on the first day of the year. The proportion has to be on the first day of the year for clubbing provisions to be applicable. The proportion has to be on the first day of the year. Everyone understood? That, ladies and gentlemen, is your 6414. That is asset transferred to spouse. Even if it is irrevocable, you escape 60 and 61, but the asset and the income remains in your house. Hello? The asset and the income remains in your house, and therefore we are going to club it. Because income is generated equitably throughout the year. Now we have to take a particular date of ratio. Because husband will give on 31st March and we apply clubbing, that is not fair. See, the business income will be generated from April to March. And we will have to take the proportion of investment by the husband in this business on a given date. The most rational is first day because income we are taking for the full year. So in the full year, the investment will be checked from the first day only. So how will you find out? Matlab, are you trying to say that this 3 lakh, supposedly husband gifted on 1st May. And then this 5 and 10 became on 1st May. Matlab 1st April it was 10 lakh. Okay? 1st May husband gifted 5 lakh. So are you trying to say that we will first find out April ka profit? We won't club it because no gifted. Then we will find out remaining 11 months ka profit. In that we will do. And that is only because it was May. What if it was September? What if it was not 1st September but 10th September? The problem is not identifying and keeping track of the date of receiving funds. The problem is that till that date what profits were earned. And what if some portion later was removed by the husband? We can't be doing multiple calculations only for clubbing purposes. First day of the year we will check to keep it simple. Why unnecessarily complicated? There are already too many complications in income tax law. And all hopes are shattered. Believe me. Like literally while going through the draft bill, which is still a WhatsApp forward, not yet even presented in the bill, I wonder how I am also commenting on it. But for a moment my reaction was, Chan se jo tute koi sapna, jag suna suna lage jag suna. Because nowhere it appears to be a simplified law. At least the first day. I am praying to God that the WhatsApp forward turns out to be a fake forward. Because in case there is any reality in it, then bro, the next 1 year, because if there is reality, it will be applicable from the financial year 26-27. So this year, there is absolutely no change in any case. If it happens to be true, so next 1 year, last 1 year also was troublesome because election year, till the time budget did not come, I could not start my activity of book section. Now next 1 year will be only spent in sharpening my knowledge and skills as far as the new income tax law is concerned, with only one piece or one way in which I can keep myself happy, that most things are still the same. The heads of income remain the same, or the definition of capital asset excluding personal movable but including everything, most of it remains same, but still section numbers. See, today section numbers I have done so many times in my life, last 15 years, that I remember everything blindly. But it will take some time. I'll get typically that newcomer wala feeling. Already looks wise, so I appear like a newcomer, only extremely young and handsome. But then, like knowledge wise, also it is going to become a newcomer wala feeling with one good news for you guys still, that by the time you come to CA final, I will still not be a newcomer in the new income tax law also. Sir, what about those CA inter students of your who are now going to come in final? For them, so you will be newcomer. Tera kaam kar. It is between me and them, no? How to convince them, I know. And I don't have to convince them. They already know that everyone is a newcomer. My problem is not the new law, bro. My problem is now the question answer book. The amount of efforts that I have put. There will be big change in the section number of every question and its answer. Law wise, I don't see much of a change. And my another sad part is that on the new law, before institute brings questions, we have to bring our books, because institute will do it very late, somewhere close to your exams. We can't keep our batches pending till that date. So how to adjust in that in between time? Y'all are very lucky that y'all are not going to be at all affected by this. At inter, you have to study this law only, which is all set and done. And at by the time you come in final, the new questions, etc., will be all set. Okay, so pre-booking is still on. In case, see, then later don't say that, sir, one thing is very clear: if you come on the batch day, there will be no concession. Very clearly, I am telling you. Batch day pe there won't be. Whatever is the price printed on the pamphlet, it will be payable. Take your time. Tomorrow I will ask again. Tomorrow my morning lecture, 8 to 12. हाँ, नहीं, नहीं. हमको तो लेट ही आना है. How does it matter? Paper है. What time? After my lecture, no? बस तो give paper after my lecture at 4 o'clock. Paper का time is what? 4:30, no? So if I take 8 to 12, you have 4.5 hours to study. Sit here and study, and then 4:30 give the exam. Simple है. Clear है? Tomorrow my lecture, I will be very clear with you. Had it not been interruption because of your FM and your law lectures, I would have completed your syllabus by 8th of February. I was aware I am not in town. I have got a wedding of immediate family member. It is very difficult for me to adjust this schedule also that I am doing. Last week of February, I have to go out of town. That plan is also under question mark because your syllabus is still pending without my fault, because I was given the classroom late. So now I am adjusting my schedule so that I don't have to keep your syllabus pending. I don't have these 4 hours also, but I am adjusting them so that I can, not do injustice to you also, and at the same time finish my other commitments also. From after 25th February, so I believe me, I am completely occupied with one thing or the other. So I am going to, once that next week my wedding gets over, I am going to take extra lectures to just finish your syllabus. And we are not very far away from syllabus completion. Believe me, from today, if we count, we have at least 10 or 12 lectures remaining. That also, if I take the single 4-hour class slot. Once I get free in the next week, you never know, I might be taking double slot. Oh. Extra data recharge kara kya rakhna? Because soon you'll get message. You have exhausted your 50% data for the day, etc. karke. You will certainly be getting those messages. So be ready. Next week, though I'll inform you in advance. Don't worry about it. Okay? Because I want to make sure that before the 20th or 25th of February, I finish your syllabus at least from my side, so that we can keep your tests, etc. And I believe by that time your IDT will also get over, because that also must be near completion. So that way, you will only have to adjust. I am not asking you, I am telling you about my tomorrow's time. 8 o'clock ka lecture I start at 8 only. AM. Actually, I wanted to keep it 7:30 to 11:30, but because I love you and I care for you, I am giving you that margin of 30 minutes, because I am really caring, as you are aware. So I am giving you that 30 minutes ka window to come and settle down in class before time. Is this clear, ladies and gentlemen? Proportion on the first day. Because if this is clear, things are going to be really smooth for you. Section 64, subsection 1, clause 6. This time, the asset is transferred to, observe please, son's wife. That is a gender specific transfer. In asset transfer to spouse, the receiver can be husband or wife, but here it has to be wife. Clubbing will apply only if receiver is son's wife. But did you also again observe that the gender of transferor is not mentioned? That means the transferor here can be the father-in-law or the mother-in-law, but the transfer is to the daughter-in-law for clubbing to apply. I'll tell you the logic. Income tax is a beautifully written law. There is logic behind everything. You just need someone to identify it for you. One thing please understand, that this transfer again has to be for an inadequate consideration, or first of all, this transfer is an irrevocable transfer. Inadequate condition I'll make you right, don't worry. Irrevocable. Because bro, if it is a revocable transfer, so you don't have to come up to 64. It is already clubbed in section 61. Hello. But this transfer is irrevocable. Have you escaped 60 and 61? But do you realize that the receiver is in your house? The income is coming in your house, and therefore clubbing is going to be applicable. Whatever be the income generated from this asset, the income will be received by the daughter-in-law, gender specific, but will be taxable for the transferor, which can be father-in-law or mother-in-law. Listen, in the previous case, husband to wife or wife to husband, both were covered because it was spouse. But here, listen, if father-in-law or mother-in-law transfers to daughter-in-law, is clubbing applicable? If the father-in-law or daughter-in-law, father-in-law or mother-in-law transfer to the son-in-law, daughter's husband, no clubbing. The logic is right in front of us. Sir, she will be in the same house. Son-in-law won't be. So supposingly today my father-in-law, my extremely rich father-in-law transfers any of his asset to me. Inadequate consideration, of course. Correct? Hai? Will there be clubbing? No. So any income that I will receive as son-in-law, I only will be paying tax. He won't be affected by clubbing. So still he does not transfer. Same thing if he does to his daughter-in-law, my mother does to my wife, then clubbing provisions will be applicable, because income tax law clearly assumes that daughter-in-law will be in your house. Son-in-law won't be in your house. So daughter-in-law ka transfer means income is coming in your house. Logic hai, logic. But transfer to son-in-law means income is not coming in your house. We cannot be applying clubbing in that. Correct or no? Sir, see this. Income tax law was enacted in 1961, at least the existing law. And at that time it used to be like this only. Daughter-in-law used to stay in the same house. Son-in-law did not stay in the same house. Of course, modern days times have changed. Today, son-in-law comes and stays in the same house. Daughter-in-law does not. She goes away with the son. But that is today, no. When the law was created in 1961, bro, that generation was like this only. And believe me, I have had practical cases where that generation was like this. For a moment, it was believed that you cannot trust your son, but you can trust your daughter-in-law. 1961. Your son is not trustworthy. Pay attention. If you transfer asset to son, it is assumed that he will go out. Then there is no clubbing because asset is not in your house. But if you transfer to his wife, it is assumed that she will stay. Son may go away, but son's wife will not go. She will be in the same house. Was an assumption in 1961, which was right. My mom's mom, Nani we call her in Hindi. My mom's mom, Nani, she used to stay alone. She has given birth to 3 sons. But the 3 sons are, let's not get into that discussion, because if I start that discussion, there is no end to it, bro. There is no end. So we used to always ask her that when you were expecting these sons, What exactly did you eat? As a mother, you eat some healthy stuff, no? We know what you ate so that any expecting mother should not eat that. So when she used to stay alone, many a times we told her that, why do you stay alone? You know, at your age, senior citizen, 80 plus, you staying alone. If God forbid anything happens, we often see senior citizens falling in the bathroom, breaking their bones, not able to get up, never recover from that at that age. Why are you staying alone? Please don't. Please come and stay with us or another daughter, means my mom's sister, her family, because we will take care of you. My house or my Masi's house you can. She said no. If I come and stay in my daughter's house, the whole world will blame my sons for not being good. Look at her thinking. The sons were not good. But she does not want the outside world to know it. That people will think that my sons are not good, which is the truth. But she protected her sons from that image by staying alone. And what was the statement that she used to? That the house in which I am living alone is purchased by my husband. Of course, with time, the sons grew up, they earned money from that shop itself. With that money, they purchased their respective houses and one by one moved out with their respective family, which is okay. That's okay. If that house is insufficient as your family grows, you move out. But don't you think one of y'all should have taken the mother along? Achha, there was a time when they were good. They multiple times told her that don't stay alone. Please come. After a point, she also refused, and they were so happy only. So they stopped telling her also. But the thing that we asked her, that why do you want to stay alone? I still remember one statement that she has always told, always, that my husband brought me in this house standing. I will go from this house sleeping. I won't leave this house in any other form or way. She always used to say, खड़े खड़े आई हूं, लेट के जाऊंगी. And believe me, she honored this statement till her last breath. Peak COVID time, 2020, 85 years ka age, she was staying alone. Multiple times we told her that now to at least stay with us. What about your food? What about any health care? The only good thing was I am staying alone, so what can happen to me? There is no way in which the infection can come to my house. One day, October 2020, 7th October, I remember the date also because, you know, mother-daughter relations are too excessive emotional, especially after the daughter is married. So it basically, typically, every day ka fixed tha, हाँ माँ. And we were also so used to it in our respective house. One day she is not answering the call. And my mother, overexcited, within a few minutes, to go right now itself, go check, go check, go check. We went, we checked. She's lying on the bed. Her tea is lying down. She used to cook her own food, make her own breakfast, wash her own clothes, wash her own utensils. Everything she used to do by herself. That's why she was extremely fit even at 85. Her tea is lying, she is lying on the bed. Not answering. Oximeter used to come during COVID. All of us purchased to check that oxygen level. Plain blank. But of course, for satisfaction purposes, we took her to the hospital, knowing the result. We took her. And the doctor said, okay, you can take her back home. Until the last breath, she honored this promise. She said, I am not going to leave my husband's house. Husband not there, doesn't matter. Sons have gone, doesn't matter. Daughters have gone, obviously one day they had to go. Doesn't matter. I will stay alone. I will not leave that house. You want to stay with me? You come and stay here. You will tell me to leave this house. I will not leave this. If I come and stay in your house, I am dependent on you. If I stay in my house, I do everything as per my wish. I cook when I want to. I eat when I want to. I watch TV if I have to. I go to sleep. And off late towards her later days, she was very active on Facebook also. Of course, but then as senior citizens, she used to type any random thing and post. Then we had to tell her, okay, what are you doing? WhatsApp groups mein she used to type and just click anything without AAJJII. That's how, you know, many a time we see senior citizens just randomly typing and putting something. But the idea was that I want to get accustomed to smartphones also. I want to know how they work. Very smart that way she is. If you talk about accounts, I have to receive how much from you, you have to receive how much from her. With interest, the principal interest, everything. Orally, she used to remember the calculations. We need calculators. She used to remember orally everything. She did not leave her husband the house till the last minute. 1961 ka generation was like that only. Today's times, we all know, have changed. She will go, son will also go. Son was never trustworthy. Daughter-in-law is always trustworthy. It is assumed that she will stay in this house. And therefore, the income will come in this house. And therefore, clubbing will apply only if the receiver is daughter-in-law. So listen, spouse, daughter-in-law will be in the same house. Clubbing will apply. Daughter will not be in the same house. No clubbing. Son-in-law will not be in the same house. No clubbing. Your own son will not be in the same house. Not trustworthy. No clubbing. Clubbing will apply if the receiver is spouse or daughter-in-law. Understood? Subject to the following points. First point, there was conditions. What were the two conditions for clubbing to apply? Obviously, it has to be in adequate consideration, because if you take adequate consideration, if you take adequate consideration, then kya sir? Then it's a case of capital gain. No? And then there cannot be clubbing. I can sell to anybody on the planet. But that's it. There cannot be the second condition. What was the second condition? No agreement to live apart. Bro, you can't divorce your daughter-in-law. You can have agreement to live apart with your spouse. You can't have agreement to live apart with anybody's spouse. So that second condition of living together is not applicable. It is assumed that she is living together. Once she has come, she won't go. 1961. You understand? Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, congratulations, badai ho, abhinandan. This section is also applicable only to individual, because individual can only have sons, wife. The relationship, which relationship? Father-in-law, mother-in-law with daughter-in-law should exist on two occasions. Transfer and income. Clubbing will apply on capital gain, clubbing will apply on indirect transfer, clubbing will apply on change in form of asset, but clubbing will not apply on accretion. And if gifted amount is used in business, then we see proportion of investment on the first day of the previous year. All other conditions, all other points will remain same. Is that understood? Everyone? Fantastic. Next, as I told you, if you do 4 properly, 6, 7, 8 done. So 6 done. Section 64, subsection 1, clause 7 and clause 8. Clause 7, clause 8, both done. How, sir? This time, the asset is transferred to any trust or AOP. Means, Mr. X has not transferred the asset to Mrs. X or daughter's, or son's wife, daughter-in-law. No, because if I transfer to spouse or son's wife, directly or indirectly, will there be clubbing? Yes. So what do? I transfer the asset to a trust, to AOP. And this trust or AOP is going to pass the benefit of this asset to my spouse. Then clubbing will apply in clause 7, or to my son's wife. Then clubbing will apply in clause 8. Clause 7, clause 8 ka only difference is the beneficiary. If it is spouse, then clause 7. If it is son's wife, then 8. Please understand what is happening. Okay. Supposingly there is Mr. X. Here there is Mrs. X. Can I say that is spouse? Or there is Mrs. X1, that is daughter-in-law, assuming X1 is the son. If the asset is directly transferred here, then can I say the previous two clauses, clause 4 and clause 6, will attract clubbing? So what I do is, I don't let my asset reach here. I transfer my asset to a trust or to AOP, and this trust or AOP will pass on the benefits of my asset to whom? To my spouse. Then clubbing will apply in clause 7, or to my son's wife. Then clubbing will apply in clause 8. This is a lesser known concept of tax planning. These are famously known as family owned trust. See, there is a concept called charitable trust, which we all understand. But what is this thing called family owned trust? Not a lot of people are aware, because this is generally seen in, first of all, extremely high net worth families. So one reason why we are not aware is obvious. Bro, extremely high net worth families, matlab we are not. Second reason is this is basically done by those who become late parents, where the parent knows that the probability of them not surviving till their children turn major is very high. For example, the big bull of Indian stock market, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala sir, passed away a couple of years ago. When he passed away, he has, if I am not wrong, he has twins, one son, one daughter, and both were in the 9th or the 10th standard when Mr. Jhunjhunwala passed away. Minor child. Now, problem is that when you are a minor child and you lose your parent, so that way you are the obvious legal heir, but there are other people who will exploit you being a minor and come and try to strike a claim over them. The siblings of your parents, the grandparents, if they are surviving, everyone will want a share of it by claiming themselves also to be legal heads of the disease. If the children are grown up, then they will not dare, but they will only exploit your immaturity. So these people who become late parents and are also aware that I have accumulated so much wealth for my children and I know that I am going to die before they turn major, they make something called a power of attorney. They create something called a family owned trust, that the moment I die, if my children do not turn major, all my wealth will vest in that trust. That trust will work as caretaker. That trust ka trustees ka names he will write, and they say the trustee will get remuneration because this is not charitable. Your responsibility is to take care of my wealth till my children turn major. And once they turn major, you have to pass it on. You will get your remuneration. These are family owned trusts. They are not charitable trusts that they will get tax benefit. But as a safe custody of the asset, it will go to the trust. The person, it is like making a will. That person will make a will and say that day when my children turn 18, the asset should go to them. This much share should go. Those who are aware that I am going to lose my life before my children turn major actually indulge in this. That also if they have too much wealth. Somebody from middle class or lower middle class dies. If you do not have wealth, where is the question of creating those assets or creating those trusts? So you will get to see this in extremely high net worth families, that also those who become late parents. So sooner or later, what is going to happen? While the asset has not reached the spouse or the son's wife, the asset is where? With the trust. Till the distribution takes place, the asset is with the trust. But sooner or later, the benefit is going to be passed to the spouse or son's wife by chance if the children have grown up. So that much portion will be clubbed in the hands of transferor, because you will die whenever you have to. Right now, you have not died. You have transferred. See, if you make a trust on the will that the trust will be created after I die, then there can't be clubbing. But some people create the trust during their lifetime itself to exploit, manipulate. That right now only I will give the asset to my spouse or son's wife. If I give the asset in their physical custody, then the previous two clauses will attract clubbing. So asset I won't give them. Directly or indirectly also I will not give them. Asset will stay with an in-between assessee called the trust. But the benefits of the asset will reach my spouse or son's wife. In my lifetime, if that happens, then clubbing will apply. Of course, after I die, there is no question of clubbing. Understood? You'll get to see this very rarely, but some people who do that, clubbing provision is not going to leave them at all. Is that clear? Next, ladies and gentlemen, this is that section of clubbing of income which we often take as example of clubbing of income chapter. If first time I have to tell you what is clubbing, I will take your example. Yeah, this is dedicated. Big round of applause to both Adnan and Bhakti, both of them. Abhi guess karo what? Wow. And look at their smiles. Wow, my provision, my section. Income of minor child. Income of minor child. See, Adnan, income tax believes that minor child cannot have brains. Minor, बच्चा पागल है, अक्कल वक्कल क्या? नया चावल है. What is that? I never heard this.
जो माइनर चाइल्ड रहता है ना उसको बोलते हैं नया चावल.
ऐसा नहीं है, जो प्रेशर होता है उसको बोलते हैं.
Okay, minor child. Whom do you want, Adnan or Bhakti? Everyone is saying Adnan bro. ये you should actually Adnan say क्या यही है आपकी equality? Everyone is targeting you. I am not targeting. You don't mind, no, you won't be offended, you won't feel bad. Even if you do, I am going to do it. Everything is an example. I have also told you many a times, you want to make fun of me, make it on my face. Let's keep classroom a place where we look forward to it. चलो, मजा आएगा, चलो. Let's go. You know, you must always, every time you come to my class, you got to have that Rahul Gandhi wali feeling. What? You know that or no? मजा आया. You seen that? मजा. और ये जो मजा है, he said it on national television in an interview. He said it. ये जो मजा है, मैं हिंदुस्तान के हर व्यक्ति को देना चाहता हूं. He said it, believe me. You know what happened in Delhi elections? Again that Rahul Gandhi wala video. Khatam, tata, bye bye, goodbye, gaya. None of you all are from Wayanad. No? Wayanad? No. Both are from Ernakulam. The Kerala is the only state of the country where Rahul Gandhi can win elections. Believe me. Believe me. Okay. ठीक है, no problem. Democracy है. Everyone has the right. But Adnan देख, minor child है ना. Minor child does not have brains. Minor child can't have income. If minor child has income, income tax assumes that it is income earned by the parent, but they have tried to divert and show it as income of the minor child so that they can exploit the slabs of the minor child. Understand? So minor ka income will be taxable, that is clubbed in the hands of your parent. Minor does not have brain. Minor is pagal, brainless hai. So minor ka income will be taxable in the hands of parent. You don't laugh, huh? Then the guy, I will change. Don't laugh. Okay. Taxable for parent. But then another question arises. Sir, parents are two. Check kar. Two, no. So which parent? Any guesses? Lower slabs. That parent with higher income. Minor ka income will be added in the income of the parent who has higher income. But listen. Supposingly, father's income 5 lakh, mother's income 6 lakh. Father's income 5 lakh, mother's income 6 lakh. And minor ka income is 3 lakh rupees. So we add the 3 lakh here and we get 8 lakh. Do you understand 8 greater than 6? So we have done correct or no? No! See, after adding to anybody can become higher. Very, very important to understand that it has to be higher before adding the income. Hello. Before clubbing. Minor's income will be added in the income of the parent who has higher income before adding. Because in any case, our target is higher tax rate. Correct? But then, simple situations I will do. And believe me, the answer that you will give is the correct answer. I just have to give you the situation. For example, if the parents have separated. So, supposingly we are talking about Rushet ka children. Rushet ka minor children. Now that Mrs. Rushet knows Rushet, so they have separated. So their minor children ka income will be clubbed in whose hands? Guess kar and it will be right. Guess kar. I am only giving you situations, bro. It will be right. Whoever has the Bollywood language, custody, bro, the maintaining parent. Same hai. I told you, you will give the correct answer only. That parent who is maintaining the child, as you may say, custody of the child. Barabar. Maintaining parent. What if Rushet ka wife saw some crime shows and then thereafter, if one parent, Rushet DAD dad nahi. One is dead obviously. One is dead. So clubbing In whose hands? Guess कर, it will be right. क्या वो जो जल रहा? Who is alive? हाँ, who is alive? English. Surviving parent. Bro, रूशे दे जलेगा थोड़ी bro. हाँ, no problem, no problem. Surviving parent. Makes sense. If one parent passes away, and the income will be taxable in the income of surviving parent. Correct? Do you realize in points 2, 3 and 4, I just gave you the question and you gave me the answer. How easy clubbing of income ka chapter is. Chalo next. If both parents have passed away, both parents have passed away. Possible? Minor child ka both parents passed away? Come on, give me the wrong answer. Yes, give me the wrong answer. Guardian. I expected this answer. This is the answer that I get in all CA final batches also. I am the only faculty in the country who teaches clubbing of income, set of carry forward, deductions under chapter 6A, business profession, capital gain, other sources, even at CA final. Until recently, I used to cover house property also, but salary house property removed from CA final syllabus. I teach all other CA inter topics also at CA final, which is why my CA final batch takes 1 month extra compared to any other class or professor countrywide. I am not associated with one particular class or under the brand of any particular class as a full-time employee. I work on pan-India basis. I have sales in Kashmir, Kanyakumari, Gujarat, Arunachal Pradesh, every state and every district of the country. I am selling my video lectures. Nobody else covers these topics. There are two ways in which you perceive this. Somebody who has genuine intention of learning the law with logic would prefer my lectures. Someone who, sir, बहुत ज़्यादा batch हो गया, sir, this much knowledge we don't want. Give us only whatever is enough to pass exams. If that is your attitude, I do have other options also. I to give that option. You tell me which chapters you want. I can give you video lectures of those chapters also. I have those options, but to a certain extent, it depends on your attitude also. But believe me, the moment you say, sir, tell me those chapters which are enough to pass exam, that is already beginning of the end of your career. That is already the end of your career, because you are learning only for exam, not for learning. The reality should be that learn for learning the law, exam will be taken care of. So attitude makes a lot of difference, and that is basically the change in admission with me or anybody else, where admission depends on what is the demand of the student. And I am not saying that everyone will listen to me and want to learn only for the purpose of education. There will be some who will want to learn only for the purpose of exam. So maybe I am not fit for them. Maybe that is ultimately your choice also. And therefore, when I see a lot of CA final students also who specially have studied elsewhere and come at final, the moment I ask this question, if both parents are dead, the first instant reaction, it is okay if a CA inter student said that, guardian, which is wrong. But that's the first thing which final students also say. This is not the correct answer. If both parents have passed away, there will be no clubbing. Wait. Don't jump to conclusions. Let me complete this. There will be no clubbing does not mean this income is exempt income. You said no tax. Nahi, sir. Is the income taxable? Yes. Nahi to to save tax ke liye both parents. Is the income taxable? Yes. Clubbing won't apply. Means guardian will not be doing clubbing. Minor will pay tax. Minor will pay tax. But yes, you may have confusion. Sir, how could minor pay tax? So you only said minor, pagal hai. When minor, we say minor will pay tax. Sir, the compliance duties will be done by. So, filing of return will be done by guardian. Notice comes, replying to the notice will be done by guardian. Timely payment of taxes will be done by guardian. Everything guardian will do. If there is a notice which is giving you summons means we want to call you to income tax office, and the notice is regarding a minor's income tax. So, to be present, the minor does not have to go. Bro, if we send the minor child in income tax office, he will tell the officer, uncle, lollipop. We can't be sending minor child to income tax office. On behalf of the minor, who will go and be present? Guardian will do all the duties. But please understand the difference between having a parent and having a guardian. If the parent is alive, parent will calculate own income and add your income in that income. Parent will keep you under their umbrella. You don't have to depend on anyone. Guardian will do maximum duties. A guardian can do enough not to make you feel the absence of your parents, but a guardian cannot become the parent. Guardian will compute own income. In own income won't add your income. Will calculate your income separately. So own income, minor's income. Will find two returns. For one for self, one for minor. Parent will take own income and add in that income your income. That is clubbing. When you add someone else's income in your income, that is clubbing. Guardian won't add in own income. Guardian will do your duties, but your calculation will be separate. Clubbing is gone, but income is taxable. Separate calculation for minor, but to do the duties, there will be guardian. Now don't say, sir, what if there is no guardian? Pagal jaisa baat. See, if the minor has income, there will be guardian. A minor who does not have income, there may not be guardian. But minor who has income, somebody will become the guardian. I hope I am very clear on this. You understood the difference between adding in own income and just doing the duties. Bro, that's the difference between parents and others. Other people can never take the place or space of your parents, no matter how rich your father-in-law is. Parents will remain parents. Remember that. Okay. Still search for a rich father-in-law only. I have not said that. But have your own space. MLA. Whose father-in-law? Is MLA. Your father-in-law is MLA. क्या बोल रहे हैं? Rich father-in-law does not mean MLA. It can be MP also. It can be industrialist also. Now most industrialist, rich industrialist daughters are already married, so search for the ones who are not married. A son also, if that is your preference. क्या time pass का दुकान पे चुप रहना. Anything other than relevant relevant topic, anything other than the subject, you can have endless discussion. Did you ever, think of asking any such query related to this? Minors have more brains than you. So you understood the difference between parents and guardians? Fantastic. We are still not done. Minor ka income ka discussion is going on. The following cases, there will be no clubbing. No clubbing means what? Income is not exempt. See, no clubbing means what? Minor will pay tax. Now listen. Sir, we have already seen one case where minor pays tax. Which is that case? When both parents are. So guardian is doing duties, but income computation of minor is separate. But we are talking about a case where if you want to avoid confusion, let me only avoid confusion. The parents are alive. Living parents may we are going to take tax from the minor. See, parents are not there, then guardian is doing minor duties, we are understanding. But if parents are alive, then there should be clubbing, no? We are now talking about cases where there will be no clubbing even when the parents are alive. What are the cases? Case 1. If the minor has earned the income through special skill. If the minor has earned income through manual labor. Sir, it is not illegal. Up to a reasonable hours, you can make them work. You see all the TV shows, you see all the Bollywood, Hollywood movies, there are minor children working. Whether you start from a Salman Khan movie, Bajrangi Bhaijaan, where there was this cute little girl in that movie, Munni. Full movie, she was mute, she couldn't speak. So that way she only gave her expressions throughout the movie. But she killed the show with her expressions also. During the movie, she was a minor child. Income of minor from acting in movies? No clubbing. Minor will pay tax. The whole idea behind clubbing of minor is what? That minor does not have brain. That minor can't have income. Parents have diverted income in the name of minor to exploit slab. But when the minor is genuinely talented, and earning income through talent, then that is not diversion by parents. So minor child acting in movies. Many years ago there was a movie, Amir Khan movie, Tare Zameen Par. Bam bam bole, masti mein. Tare Zameen Par. It was about the issue of dyslexia, learning disability. So minor child having learning disability, school going kid. And that boy in the movie, he's an actor called Darshil Safari, who played the role of that dyslexic kid in the movie. The character's name was Ishan Avasthi, and the actor's name is Darshil Safari. What a natural actor. When he is acting in the movie, you really feel that he's actually suffering from that disease. He portrayed it so nicely. But he was minor at that time. He may be major now because that movie also came like roughly 15-20 years ago. At that time, he was minor. No clubbing. Minor will pay tax. Anybody very active in sports? Played respectable level sports? Anyone? Kya? Langdi? Which sport? Kabaddi. Till which level? Mumbai ka team. At that time, what was your age? 8th standard. You were a minor child, 13 years old. If you have received any income, no clubbing. Even if minor. Kyun sir? Special skill. Skill or talent. Special skill or special talent. Anything bro, one and the same. Manual labor. Who was the musician? Ever played professionally? Played professionally. Before turning 18? Got paid for it? No clubbing. Because special skill. Special skill is not just acting. It can be playing as a musician or ye kabaddi wala sport. Anybody has done any other thing professionally like acting, dancing, singing, anything else? Dancing also. Abhi that I can't tell you too. Piano maybe you never joined us. Dancing, which form of dance? Kathak. Kathakali is Malayalam. Kathak is which state? Kathakali is Kerala ka dance form. Tamil Nadu is Bharatnatyam. Kathak is Kathak. Andhra. Kathak is Andhra. This is Tamil Nadu and Kerala, I am sure. Bharatnatyam is Tamil Nadu and Kathakali is Kerala. We know is Garba. Hey, hello. Or what? Bhangra. You got paid for dancing also? Why are you doing CA? You are getting paid for all the reasons. So, any specific reason that he was doing, so I also decided to do it as such. So, any specific reason for doing CA when you are having so many different talents? Mama, thank God for listening to your parents, because whatever be your, I pray to God that you are successful in whatever you do in life. And all the students attending the class, online, offline, or recorded. Success can come from wherever you want. Bro, if success has to come, it has to come. That does not mean that you sit at home, bro, success will come. If it has to come, it will come. You have to keep working, and for that you have to listen to your parents and teachers. Thank God no influencer came and told you, no, you are good in playing the music as well as dancing. So you can, tie a harmonium or maybe a piano around your neck, and while playing the piano, you perform Kathak like this. With one hand ka fingers you are playing, another say you are performing dance like this. So you will be the only person in the country who will perform music with, see, people sing and dance together, but playing an instrument and dancing together is a difficult form, and you will be known. And with this, you don't have to do any kind of study. You'll make these many crores in these many years. One day some influencer will come and tell you, you will go mad. Not listen to your parents and teachers. Then when you hang the piano around your neck, now you'll realize it is not possible to do Kathak. Aisa kaise kare? Are you have to do these fingers, you end up doing these fingers. Thank God for listening to your parents. Thank yourself for listening to your parents. Thank your parents to make you understand that while having a hobby as a source of income, you may plan. There are qualified chartered accountants who are not practicing, who are into business, who are into profession. The country's biggest banker, Mr. Deepak Parekh, chartered accountant, or one of the biggest industrialists, Mr. Kumaramangalam Birla, chartered accountant. One of the biggest startup founders, Aman Gupta, is a chartered accountant. One of the biggest content creator, Rachana Ranade, is a chartered accountant. CAs do not have limits. But whichever industry you go, your CA knowledge will help you, because to make money, you need to have knowledge of costing, financial management, taxation, auditing. But clear and go there. The quantity of respect, you will be in a better position to bargain. Sir, 1 lakh mein nahi chalega, 1 lakh mein 30% tax, so effectively I am getting only 70. You have to give me 2 lakh rupees so that even after 30% tax, I am left with roughly 1,40,000. And you are going to get deduction of that. So you will also save tax. Where is the problem? You pay me more, you get more tax benefit. So your net cost is less. Financial management also teaches, I into 1 minus T, cost of debt. So there is going to be tax saving, no? Your CA ka degree will help you understand all of that. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, your parents ka brain is not involved. This is your skill. There will be no clubbing. And then if there is any minor who is suffering from ATU disability, there is logic, but there is defect also. I will talk about both. There is logic, but there is defect. I'll talk about both. Everyone is with me. There is immense logic here. See, please understand. When you are suffering from disability, in India, there is a law. There is a law called Person with Disability Equal Opportunities Act. What is the name of the law? Person with Disability Equal Opportunities Act, under which if you are a certified disabled, you calling yourself "Main to hu pagal" is not enough to be eligible for disability benefits. You need a certificate also. We make it and you can contact my office for that. If you have disability certificate, government every month will pay you maintenance money. Disabled people are paid money from the government to take care of themselves. So are you getting money because of disability? Can that be a minor child also? Now this money is coming to minor child because of disability, not because parents ka diversion. The idea was parents divert their income. But here it is minor's disability which is resulting in this income. And therefore, this is not a case of intentional tax diversion. Therefore, there won't be any clubbing. Makes sense? But there is a defect here. The law should have mentioned any minor suffering from ATU disability, no clubbing on incomes because of disability. So government is giving you money because of disability, no clubbing on that. But then with that money, if you are investing in shares and earning dividend, investing in FD and earning interest, debentures and earning interest, that is not minor ka brain, that is parents ka brain. That deserves clubbing. But they have not written. That means no income will be clubbed. Ideally, they should have written for incomes arising due to disability. You understand? They have not mentioned, which means none of the incomes will be clubbed. Whether it is because of disability or any other reason, there will be no clubbing, which can be used for exploitation. Supposingly, you have a disabled minor child, there won't be any clubbing. So your incomes you can divert in the name of your disabled minor child. There won't be any clubbing. Of course, to which there is a counter question. Sir, what kind of a parent is this? Has a disabled minor child and using that minor's disability for tax exploitation. Sir, don't give such reactions. What is your problem? Their child. You are taking care, they are taking care. They already have a disabled child. They can't do anything about it. At least they can evade some taxes. Let them do it. And that also in today's generation, 21st century, the probability of having a disabled minor child is extremely low. You may not see a disabled minor child anywhere because the sonography machines are those machines which basically check the development of the fetus. Of course, in that, the radiologist, the doctor, comes to know about the gender also, but they will not inform and you can't even ask. If you ask about the gender, it's a criminal case. But in that sonography, and the machines have become so advanced now, you clearly can find out, if you have that experience as a doctor, as a radiologist, that this child is going to be disabled. That this child does not have proper growth of limbs, or the brain is not growing. We advise you something called DNC, or they call it MTP, medical termination of pregnancy. Simple language, people call it abortion. Of course, parents will not, easily accept this, especially if they were too excited about having that child. They may not, very easily accept the fact that they are going to have a disabled child, etc. You go to multiple doctors, finally you get the same report, then final conclusion is that yes, you will have to terminate. Some parents unfortunately need counseling also here because they are very, very disappointed. They are very looking forward to their child. In that, some sensible doctors, they have the knowledge of counseling also. the doctor will certainly explain to their parents that this is not the time to get emotional. Out of emotion, it is possible that you give birth to this child. As long as you are alive, you will take care of this child. You are basically going to create a very tough life for this minor child if you give birth. Because after you die, who will take care? You understand? Who will take care of this child? Bringing this child in this world is injustice. Killing this child is more sensible. Because of advanced level of sonography machines, the probability of having a disabled minor child, believe me, has become negligible. But in case you do, then that minor child ka income, kya bro? That minor child ka income will not be club. Everyone is clear about this? That minor child ka income will not be club. Everyone is clear? Whether the income is due to disability or any other reason, there won't be any clubbing on that income. Clear hai everyone? Fantastic. Next, point number 7, under clubbing of minor child. What do you mean by child? Income tax law has defined this. Child is defined. So, following means minor child. Sorry, but see, may not be appropriate for a classroom, so therefore I apologize in advance. But you telling someone baby does not get covered in clubbing. Arey, have you eaten food? Oh, babu ne thana tha. Or kya? How do you say in Marathi? Zevlis. हाँ, तो you calling anyone baby for whatever reason is not the baby here. They say child will include one, your biological child, of course. Child will also include stepchild, and child will also include lazy people, adopted child. Your biological child, stepchild, adopted child, they all will fall in the definition of child. So if there is your child having income, your stepchild having income, your adopt legal, huh? Hey, you don't have to steal kids. Who was that from your batch? वो बच्चा चोरी करने वाला हो? She, no? I remember there was some बच्चा चोरी. So these days, where do you operate? ऐसा चर्च गेट? You do बच्चा चोरी at चर्च गेट? नहीं, मतलब local trains or outstation trains are. Then what do? You give chloroform to the kids so that they don't chocolate. So they have to be your legally adopted children. They don't have to be lifted from public places. That is adopted child. And bro, you know, I hope you are clear that income tax law has given definition of child. Child includes biological. This is inclusive definition. So your children are your children. Over and above your children, we will also include stepchild and adopted child. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, the next statement I am not giving to only to make it funny. The next statement is actually a statement given in the law. The law says, however, it will exclude. However, it will, kya bola bro? Exclude any child that is born out of an illegal marriage. Who was that illegitimate here? Who? Someone said it here. Someone said that word here. Illegitimate child, Akash. Illegitimate child. If you have, see Akash. If they are legally yours, no Akash, then only clubbing. Other than the legal ones, you know, if you have spread over multiple places, bro. Or what do you call it? काफी फैला हुआ काम है. Business. The child out of an illegal marriage is not going to be considered as your child. That is income tax ka definition. Can you believe it? And it is not what you are thinking about, Akash. It does not. Your thinking is only restricted to Akash. It is not about that. You please understand what does this mean. Under Hinduism, you are legally allowed to have one spouse. If you get married for the second time without divorcing your first wife, that's an illegal marriage. A child born out of that marriage won't be considered as your child for clubbing purposes. Under Islam, if you have the fifth wedding without divorcing one of the first, then that is going to be considered as illegal marriage, not what you were thinking. It has to be a legally recognized wedding. There has to be some evidence of the wedding. Been 10 plus years since I got married. I don't have marriage certificate. Sir, CA के साथ MBA भी हो गया sir. Sir, now MBA married but available for neighbor's wife. Sir, why? You know, in Mumbai, availing of marriage certificate is a big pain. You have to fill form in municipal corporation website that I want marriage certificate. In that form, you have to mention the names of two witnesses. The witnesses have to be present over there the day when they are allocated. So you ask your friend that will you come with me as witness? Friend says yes. When do I have to come? That date they will not give in advance. First you have to enter the name of your two witnesses. You have to enter the name of the priest. Then you submit. And then the website will generate a date. So bro, I submit the names of two friends. Then the date comes. My friend says that day I am not available. Arey sir, you first give me date. Accordingly I will get witness. No? And my priest is somewhere in some village of Rajasthan. I don't even know where he is. If I find out where he is. Of course, chalo, priest also available. You can take randomly any priest available on the road. Sir, come with me. No, 501 Dakshina. Come with me as witness. But that name has to be given in advance. You understand the problem? So, getting marriage certificate in Mumbai is very difficult. I don't know why the government does not bring about an appropriate change. Just simply I upload my wedding card or my wedding photo and you should generate a wedding certificate when everything is becoming digital. I decided not to get marriage certificate. Initially it is okay, but moving forward it will be difficult because if you do not have any ID proof with the same surname or same address, so wherever you go there will be difficult. Bro, even today if I leave my son at home with my mom or my brother and supposingly ma'am and I are going somewhere, so the hotel owner tells us that unmarried couples not allowed. We look so young. Then we have to show them the pagal husband wife. The big problem I am telling you, wherever we go, especially when it comes to school admission of your child, you have to give parents ka Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card has to match the surname or the address. At the time of marriage, I clearly told ma'am that I don't expect you to change your surname. You are free to use your maiden surname, your pre-marriage surname. I have got absolutely no problem. I won't change. If you are expecting that I change my surname, I make it very clear, I will not change, I don't force you. You retain your surname. I don't have any problem. But I will definitely not change. Even if your father is adopting me and naming 1/3 for me, still I am not changing my surname for sure. So initially she did not change, but then later on she realized that wherever she is going, there is trouble. So she wanted to change. Now marriage certificate can be used to change everywhere. But problem है, marriage certificate में problem है. So very smartly we did what? First we changed surname in the PAN card. PAN card में changing surname is very easy. You just have to send your wedding card. I am giving you practical knowledge. If you send your wedding card ka copy to income tax department stating that I am a female recently married and I want, this is my new name. So they will change the name on your PAN card. Number will be same. Name will be changed. They will allocate fresh. So PAN card may change photo ID proof. Then second we need one address proof. So in Mumbai there is a place called Charni Road. And right opposite Charni Road railway station, there is a shop called Good Luck Motor Training School. It is basically a motor driving school which does all RTO related work. You go to that school, that shop and tell them that I want driving license. I don't have anything. This is my name, Salman Khan. And take my photo. He will say no problem, I'll do it, 500 extra. At 500 extra, bro, he will make any RTO related document for you. What a smart guy. His staff actually runs RPO work. Believe me, if you have any RPO related issue with respect to any paperwork or anything, that's the best place. He will be expensive. He will charge 500 to 1000 rupees more than others. But he will, provide doorstep service and only cash. He does not accept any UPI, any credit card, anything. Because he has got immensely high level of setting in the RPO with all the traffic division officers. So I took ma'am over there. I told that shopkeeper that she is my wife. PAN card I have, but I don't have anything else. She has come from another city. He says on this paper, write your address and write the name. Your driving license will be made. No need to come for driving test also. And he actually did it. Bro, that way, I for a moment thought that I should give Deepika Padukone's photo and name, but he would have done that also. So now ma'am has one photo ID proof and one address proof. With these two things, we applied for her Aadhaar card. Aadhaar requires two documents, one photo and one address, PAN card and driving license. We got Aadhaar card in her new name, and with that, we changed everything. Without having marriage certificate even today. Then passport mein there is one problem. Now in the latest version of passports, you have to write your spouse name. Now spouse name, how do you write? Because you don't have any proof. So we went for something called a marriage affidavit. Any roadside notary, any lawyer, no? You just tell them to type the affidavit. You have to give your photo. He will get a stamp from the court that will work as ID. Evidence of marriage to write name of spouse in your passport. With the complications, you can get it done like that also. Till the time I did not make marriage affidavit, only changing names in the documents does not recognize the marriage. And believe me, my son was born before I got the marriage affidavit. I changed driving license, PAN card, Aadhaar card does not make spouse relation. There has to be some legal recognition of your marriage. No marriage certificate, no affidavit. Affidavit also recently when we had to make the passport, renew the passport. My son actually fell in the definition of illegal child because the marriage did not have recognition. It was not what you were thinking the moment I said illegal child. Bola sir, Akash ka to har gali mein. It is this when the marriage is not recognized. I think we are now clear about what is an illegal child. Samjha Akash? So the ones which you have not told the world can continue to remain untold. And last, ladies and gentlemen, section 10, subsection 32. The moment we see section 10, the instant reaction is like, why? Exemption. For parent, there will be one exemption. Are we adding minor's income in the income of the parent? Come on. So the amount that we have added, supposingly minor's income. Take a guess. What is minor's income? Bolna. Adnan bol. What is minor's income? 1 lakh. So is that added in the parent ka income? Parent ka income? That amount or rupees 1,500 per annum per child. And congratulations, Akash. After this, they have not kept any further thing, which means you will get exemption of 1,500 rupees for how many children? As many. You can have how many? Always as many. And exemption also as many. So every new child that you have now, Akash, you increase your exemption by 1,500 rupees. So supposingly your child has income of 1 lakh. So you will pay tax only on 98,500. You understand? Exemption of 1,500. Supposingly the child ka income was only 1,000. So you won't get 1,500 exemption. Of course, it is whichever is lower. Amount club or 1,500 per annum, whichever is lower. The only cheating that institute can do with you here is, listen carefully. They will give you first child 1 lakh, second child 1,000. So the total amount clubbed is 101. In that you don't take 1,500 into 2 ka exemption. Then you'll have to do it separately. The 1 lakh child will be 1,500 exemption, 98,500 taxable. And the 1,000 rupees child will be fully exempt. You understood? You will have to do it child by child. So amount clubbed or 1,500 per annum per child, whichever is lower, is going to be your exemption, and only the balance will be taxable. And this exemption you can take for any number of children for any income. Everyone is clear? That was your clubbing of income as far as your minor child is concerned. Everyone clear? We are near completion of the chapter. All the chapters now are going to be small only. We'll take a break of 10 minutes and continue this. Okay? 10 minutes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are still doing clubbing, and this clubbing is not Subah Hune Nadesh. Nah, bad luck, bad news. Welcome to Chartered Accountancy. This is clubbing of income where you will be paying tax on income of other person. Are yes or no? Ha. Next section of clubbing, section 64, subsection 2. Supposingly you are member of HUF. Supposingly you are member of HUF. Will you have right over the HUF assets and incomes? Are bol yes or no? Kya will you have right over the HUF assets or incomes? Yes. So does that mean you cannot have anything earned by yourself? Can you have something called your own? Can you have, if you are member of HUF, if you are who? Member of HUF, other than HUF assets, can you have something of your own? Can you have something of your own? We call it a self-acquired asset. The member of HUF has transferred his self-acquired asset to the HUF. Sir, what is the logic? Logic is simple. Why was he transferring to spouse or son's wife? To exploit slabs of spouse or son's wife. Similar slabs are also available to your HUF. If the asset is with your HUF, do you continue to exercise ownership and control? If the asset is with your HUF, do you continue to exercise ownership and control? Yes. Yes. But exploit the slabs of the HUF. Same reason. And of course, goes without saying that this transfer was done at an inadequate. Because the moment you take adequate consideration, that means it is a transaction of sale and I can sell my asset to anybody on the planet. But if I have taken an inadequate consideration, that means I have not offered any capital gain to tax and diverting my income. So whatever be the income arising from this asset will be received by the, but taxable for the transferor. That is called clubbing. Are you correct or no? You will pay tax on income earned by the HUF. Section 64 subsection 2C. We transfer to spouse, son's wife or HUF. The treatment remains same. Everyone is clear on this? Fantastic. If we have to talk about the other points of clubbing, first of all, please understand, these other points are not other points of 64.2. These other points are other points of the chapter. Therefore, we draw a line. Other points. First, even negative income will be clubbed. Let's make it very, very clear. The transferee is going to earn money from the asset. It can result in a net profit or loss. Clubbing will apply. For example, that milk case. Do you remember? Cow was gifted. So wife is earning milk business. So that business ka profit was taxable for the husband under clubbing. If it's a loss, that also will be clubbed. Means who will take set off of that loss? The husband. Whether profit or loss, it will be included in the transferor's calculation. So the income can be positive, the income can be negative. Remember, in the case of debentures, we said even capital gains can be clubbed, will be clubbed. It can be capital loss also. Clubbing will be applicable on profit as well as loss. Ye clear hai? Second, clubbing of income is going to be compulsory even if it reduces the net taxable total income or the tax liability. Actually, the first point is itself an example of this. Okay, but to make it clear, let's come to any of the transactions of the chapter. Let's talk about this last transaction. Mr. X, the member of HUF, transferred his asset to HUF with what intention? That he can exploit the slabs. So we were doing it on the understanding that I am falling in 30% bracket and HUF does not have income, so we start from 0%. But in a rarest of rare case, is it possible that the HUF is already in 30% bracket? Because HUF has got some own income. Means HUF ka income is going to be taxable at a rate of 30%. And I am for some reason below the basic exemption limit or 5%, means I fall in a lower rate than HUF. Is that possible? Now I transfer my asset to HUF for inadequate consideration. Is that a case of the section? Will clubbing be applicable? Sir, whatever income is getting generated here, instead of HUF, if this time I add in the income of member, do you realize he is in a lower rate and tax will fall if we do the clubbing? Clubbing is compulsory. Whether it increases tax or it reduces tax, clubbing will be applicable. Now read the statement. Clubbing will be applicable even if it reduces tax. Clubbing will be applicable even if it reduces tax. You understand? Hello? And that is also explained in that case where loss we are clubbing, matlab we are reducing the tax. And lastly, you should also know that clubbing is not a head of income. Heads are fine only. I do not want anyone to make the mistake of saying, sir, salary, house property, PGBP, capital gain, other sources, clubbing, no! This amount that you are doing in clubbing should be added in one of them only. What you have to do is think about it. If this was not a case of clubbing, then debenture interest will go in which head of income? IFS. Profit on sale of debenture will go in which head of income? Capital gain. Milk ka profit will go in which head of income? Without clubbing, it goes in which hand? Head. After clubbing, the transferor will show in that head. Clubbing is not a separate head of income. Clubbed income will be added in the same head as it would have been added, as it would have gone had there been no clubbing. Without clubbing, which head you will apply? Same head of income you have to apply. Without clubbing, which head you will apply? Same head you should be applying. Is that clear, everyone? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, congratulations, badai ho, abhinandan. That is your chapter called clubbing of income. It still took longer than what it should have taken, but you were learning it for the first time in your life. It is okay. Everyone is clear? Most of the chapters now, except deductions, which may run to 2 or 3 lectures, most of the chapters are of this size. If your confusion is, sir, how are you saying that 10, 12 lectures? We have so many chapters remaining. So most chapters are going to be of this size. You may get a day when in one day we are able to complete 2 chapters, 3 chapters. You will get that. Okay. For now, we will go to the questions of clubbing, which are on page number 161, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 145, page number 161. Please read the question.
X gives 1 lakh debentures to Mrs. X. She earns 10,000 interest therefrom. This amount is reinvested and she again earns 1,000.
हाँ तो बोलना. Clubbing will apply on. Why clubbing will not apply on 1,000? Because 1,000 is accretion. Original asset ka income will be clubbed, but accretion ka income will not be clubbed. Next.
X gives 1 lakh debentures to Mrs. X. She sells debentures for 1,50,000. The amount is again reinvested and she earns interest of 15,000 therefrom.
Will the profit be clubbed? Yes, because clubbing applies also on capital gains. Next.
Proprietary business was started by
Shrimati Rani. Shrimati you don't know. Mrs. को in Hindi it is called Shrimati. Marathi में भी it must be Shrimati only. Marathi येत नाही तुला? नहीं? Throw him out of the state. Shrimati. Mrs. Rani. Okay.
Mrs. Rani in the year 2020. As on 1st April 23, her capital in business was 3 lakh. Her husband gifted 2 lakh on 10th April 23, which was invested by her in business on the same date. She earned profits from her business 1,50,000 in the financial year 2024 and 3,90,000 in 24-25. Compute the income to be clubbed for assessment year 25-26 in the hands of Mrs. Rani's husband.
So to be honest, in this second year, which is year previous year 24-25, which also happens to be assessment year 25-26, if you observe carefully, question is asking you only clubbing for that second year, that is 25-26. So whatever be the income in the first year, the question is not asking you for any clubbing with respect to the income of the first year. Sir, first year ka income was how much? Question is not asking you any clubbing with respect to that. Question is asking you the clubbing proportion of this. But because we want to do all round study, we will do everything. This is page number 161. We first will talk about the financial year 23-24, PY 23-24, that is AY 24-25, which they are not even asking. In exam, you will do only what they are asking, but in classroom, we will have to do everything. What is the profit of this year? When gifted amount from husband is invested in business, the rule is proportionate clubbing. So with this 1,50,000, we have to decide how much will be taxable for Mrs. Rani. The amount that will be taxable for Mrs. Rani is the amount on which we are not applying any clubbing. So the one without clubbing will be taxable for herself. And how much is going to be taxable for her husband, Mr. Rani? What is funny in this? If wife can become Mrs. X, what is the problem in husband becoming Mr. Rani? What kind of a generation are we living in? You should not be having an objection in calling the husband Mr. Rani because his name is only not given. So how much will be clubbing? We know one thing that we have to do in the proportion of investment. Correct or no? Yes, please tell me the proportion. How much is gifted by husband? How much we will take? No clubbing. Because first day of the year the capital was not there. Ladies and gentlemen, they have not asked the first year, but I still did it to make sure you understand that we have to check the proportion on the first day of the previous year. And this was done during the year. It is not going to be considered. First day of the year, what is the proportion? See, you have this much common sense that in 23-24 it was done in the middle of the year. So in 24-25 it is a part of the capital, before the beginning of the year itself. So next year, of course, we will take it. But here we will not be taking it because it was not there on the first day of the year. Understood? This is why I did the first year even if it was not asked. Now let's talk about the one which they have asked. That is PY 24-25. That is AY 25-26. The profit of this year is 3,90,000, which we have to again split amongst Mrs. Rani. Mrs. Rani means the amount on which we are not applying any clubbing. That means she herself will pay tax. And the amount taxable for her husband, that is Mr. Rani. Mr. Rani matlab the amount on which we are applying the provisions of clubbing. Correct hai? This time we have to apportion 3,90,000 in a particular ratio. And one thing I must tell you, now this time her husband ka amount has to be considered because this was in the last year. So beginning of the current year, how much was the gift given by husband? 2 lakhs. So this is going to be 2 lakh rupees. Whatever be the numerator, that is husband ka gift. The denominator year and year will be same. And this is just going to be the difference between the denominator and 2 lakh. Supposingly I write 50 lakhs here. So this will be 50 lakh. So this will be 48 lakh. You getting any one of these amounts will give you all the amounts. What will be the denominator? The total investment only we have to see. Total investment. The total investment will be rupees 5 lakh. Rubbish. Nonsense. No, it is not as easy as you think it is. Survive. When the last year started, at the beginning of last year, 3 lakh was invested. During the last year, 2 lakh husband gave. So current year we are taking from the beginning. And ladies and gentlemen, during the last year, we also had profit of 1.5 lakh in proprietorship final accounts. any profit earned by the proprietor will be added in the capital. If you don't know proprietorship final accounts, I won't do anything to you. You want me to pass on this information? You know what can be your treatment. Forget about the treatment of the profit in accounts. What will be your treatment? Do you have any idea? You want me to pass the information that you don't know, that in proprietorship final accounts, profits are going to be added in capital. Bro, this question has not given any drawings. Otherwise, I would have subtracted that also. By balance brought down, add capital introduced, add profit, less drawings. If the closing balance of last year, which is opening balance of current year, ladies and gentlemen, this will be 6.5 lakh and this will be 4.5 lakh. This is where you will go wrong. So in the first year, where will you go wrong? If you take the amount because it is in the middle of the year, you don't have to take it. And in the second year, you will go wrong if you don't take the profit ka amount. Did you understand? Oh, calculators, this answer has remained 2,70,000 and 1,20,000 for the last 15 years. If you think that bringing this answer is the achievement, then you're not realizing that this, I trust you. Honestly, tell me how many people even thought of this 1.5 before I discussed it. Such mein. Mama has said right only to do CA. You thought of it. See, proprietorship final accounts is not something that you have not studied before. You can't say that I don't know that profit will be added in capital. Now that I say drawings will be subtracted also, it is relatable. So you realize that where you stop thinking, they actually start asking questions. Fantastic. No problem. Next time, don't make the mistake. Question number 148.
Mr. Preetham gifted 2 lakh 10% debentures to Mrs. Priyam in the course of tradition. Later on, they got married and Mrs. Priyam derived interest on debentures. Discuss the treatment.
No clubbing. Why? Because it is printed. Nahin? Before marriage. Rushaid ka case? At the time of transfer, there was no husband-wife relation. No clubbing will apply. Fantastic. 149.
Mr. Vasudevan gifted a sum of 6 lakhs to his brother's wife on 14 June 24. On 12 July 24, his brother gifted a sum of 5 lakhs to Mr. Vasudevan's wife. The gifted amounts were invested as fixed deposits in banks by Mrs. Vasudevan and wife of Mrs. Vasudevan's brother.
Mr. Vasudevan's brother.
Mr. Vasudevan's brother.
Make the correction, please, because it can't be wife of Mrs. Vasudevan's brother. No, bro. Mr. Vasudevan and his brother and their respective wives, they have done a cross transfer.
On 1st September 24 at 9% interest. Discuss the consequences of the above under the provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961 in the hands of Mr. Vasudevan and his brother.
Will there be clubbing? Because the husbands have not gifted directly to their respective wives. So will there be clubbing? Yes. Why? Because indirect transfer. But please understand, the common portion of transfer is how much? 5 lakh. So the 5 lakh ka interest will be clubbed. But one of them will earn extra interest on 1 lakh. That won't be clubbed because that is not a matching cross transfer. That won't be clubbed. Clubbing will apply only on the amount which matches the cross transfer. So whichever is lower of the two, one brother transferred 5 lakh, other brother transferred 6 lakh. So common amount is how much? That 5 lakh ka interest will be clubbed for both husbands, but that extra 1 lakh will not be, extra 1 lakh ka income will not be clubbed because that is not matching the common amount of cross transfer. Clear hai? Next, 150.
Mr. X transferred 1 lakh debentures to an AOP subject to the condition that the AOP shall transfer interest of 9,000 to Mrs. X.
Discuss. Will there be clubbing? He has not given the asset to his wife, but you are giving it to a trust for immediate or future benefit of your spouse or son's wife. Clubbing is still going to be applicable. 151.
Shri Madan, aged 67 years, gifted a building owned by him to his son's wife, Srimati Hema on 1st October 24. The building got an income of 10,000 per month throughout the year. Municipal tax for the first half year of 5,000 was paid in June 24, and the municipal tax for second half year was not paid till 31st March 25. Incomes of Sri Madan and Srimati Hema other than income from house property are given below. Sri Madan business income 1 lakh, capital gain 50,000 long term, other sources 1 lakh 50,000. Srimati Hema business income 75,000 negative, capital gain 2 lakh short term, other sources 50,000. Note: capital gain does not relate to gain from shares and securities. Compute the total income of Sri Madan and Srimati Hema, taking into account income from property given above for the assessment year 25-26.
See, income from property we will discuss. But as far as the other incomes are concerned, if you see Madan, we just have to add the 3 incomes. So what will be the total income of Madan? Other than the property, we just have to add this 3 lakh rupees. If we talk about Hema, she has got 2 profits, 2 lakh and 50,000, but only one loss of 75,000. The question is, can this loss be adjusted? Well, the very next chapter will teach us which loss can be adjusted. For the time being, if you want me to just inform you, yes, this loss is allowed to be adjusted against the 2 profits given. So the net effect of all of them will become 1,75,000, which will be over and above the house ka income that we have to club. Our whole target is that this 3 lakh or this 1.75 lakh, over and above the house property, this 3 lakh and this 1.75 lakh are the respective incomes. House property ka what to do? What is the income generated by the property? 10,000 per month. So the annual income is going to be 1,20,000. Who is going to pay tax? This asset is transferred to son's wife for an inadequate consideration. And is son's wife covered in the definition of transferee? Yes. Will there be clubbing provisions that will be applicable? Yes. But please understand that the property was transferred on the 1st of October. That means April to September, Mr. Madan only owned the property and he only earned the income. And October to March, daughter-in-law is earning the income, but still we will apply clubbing. And what you got to also understand is, this is not debenture interest that you just have to take total and add. This is rental income. You can't be directly adding that 60,000. 60 is 10,000 into 6 months only. You can't be doing it like this. The correct way of calculating will be, this Mr. Madan himself earned 60,000 rupees and then his daughter-in-law earned 60,000. This is gross annual value because this is income from house property. Then there are municipal taxes. First half ka Mr. Madan has paid, but second half ka daughter-in-law has not paid. So obviously no deduction because municipal tax is only on payment basis. This will become your NAV. Against NAV, we are eligible for a 30% standard deduction. So both of them will have the respective income from house property. And at this stage, the net amount of the daughter-in-law will go and get added here because this is asset transferred to son's wife. So this 42 getting added here will give you house property income of Mr. Madan 80,000 and the other income is as it is. So that 3,80,500 will become total. And here because clubbing is applicable to house property will to get eliminated. And the other incomes which I told you right now, assume that set off is allowed. Next chapter will teach us you are going to pay tax only on 1,75,000. Understood, everyone? So this was about clubbing of income of asset transfer to son's wife. Clear hai? Only that much portion will be club, that also after computation. First compute the income and the final answer will be club. Everyone is clear? Chalo, 152.
Mr. X has 26,000 equity shares in X Limited and Mrs. X 25,000 equity shares in the same company. The paid up capital of the company is 10 lakhs divided into 1 lakh equity shares. Both Mr. and Mrs. X receive a remuneration of 1 lakh per annum. Besides this, Mr. X has an income from business of 1 lakh and Mrs. X income from house property 80,000. Compute income of both Mr. and Mrs. X. Assume inadequate qualification.
That means, can I say this is a question of paying remuneration to spouse? What is the total number of shares issued by the company? 1 lakh. Out of which Mr. X is having how many shares? 26,000. And Mrs. X is having how many shares? 25,000. Do they have substantial interest? That means, can I say both of them have substantial interest? And are both of them getting remuneration of 1 lakh? Correct or no? And there is clearly given that they have inadequate. See, if there is adequate qualification, clubbing ka chapter only is not applicable. That means now the question is not about 1 lakh remuneration, the question is about 2 lakh remuneration. Both have substantial interest, both are getting remuneration for inadequate qualification. So who will pay tax on that remuneration? The person with higher income before adding this 2 lakh. So without this 2 lakh, how much is the income of Mr. X? 1 lakh. That's it from business. And how much is the income of Mrs. X? 80,000 from property. That means whose income is higher? X. And that means, can I say this 2 lakh will be added in the income of Mr. X? 1 lakh is his own income, making the total 3 lakh. And Mrs. X ka 80,000 will remain 80,000 because clubbing provisions are applicable on Mr. X. Is that clear? Chalo. So with which higher income is the answer which you have to apply. Next, 153.
What would be your answer if Mr. X holds 1,000 equity shares and Mrs. X holds 19,000 equity shares?
So this time the substantial interest is gone only. So section not applicable, correct? 20 equal to is also covered, but equal to is not happening. No, 1,000 and 19,000. But with relatives are still both of them having substantial interest. So bro, answer will remain same. Correct hai? Next.
What would be your answer if X holds 20,000 equity shares and Mrs. X nil? Mrs. X receives remuneration from the company 10 lakhs for a job for which she has technical qualification.
Then in that case, the whole concept of clubbing only gets eliminated. Clubbing is not going to be applicable. Correct hai? Chalo, 155.
Discuss the following. Mr. X has gifted 1 lakh debentures to his brother's wife, Mrs. Z. She earns 8,000 therefrom.
Will there be clubbing? Will there be clubbing? No. Why? Gift to relatives, so no clubbing. Income from other sources is not going on. Clubbing is going on. Will there be clubbing? Say yes or say no. No. Why? Spouse and daughter-in-law. So spouse hai na? If you gift it to own spouse, there is clubbing. Own daughter-in-law or HUF, there is clubbing. Brother's wife, no clubbing unless there is a cross transfer of the same amount. It is not falling in any of the sections only of the chapter. Where is the question of clubbing? Why are you bringing relative, blah, 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 blah? Nothing to do with relative. Whoever you transfer, if it is not spouse, son's wife or HUF, there won't be any clubbing. Receiver will have IFOS or no, that is not being asked to you. This is relative, receiver may not have IFOS. Hello? Of course, you may be like, acha sir, to good idea. Give your asset to your brother's wife. So what will happen? No clubbing. And receiver also won't have IFOS because falling in the definition of relative. Bro, but who gives asset to brother's wife? No one gives to brother also. We are not living in the Ramayana era where one brother will leave the kingdom and go away for another brother. Brother's wife? Bro, no one will give asset to brother, sister, parents. So let's not talk about an ideal world. Ramayana is gone in Dwapar Yuga. Satyug nahi tha. Dwapar or Treta. Dwapar. Treta Yuga was Mahabharat. Nahi? Dwapar Yuga was Mahabharat and Treta Yuga. We are in Kali Yuga. Second part.
Mr. X holds 20% equity shares in ABC Limited. His son's wife, Mrs. Y, earns remuneration of 1 lakh per annum from ABC Limited.
Okay, assume inadequate qualification. Assume inadequate qualification. So there will be clubbing because inadequate qualification and substantial interest. Will there be clubbing? Yes or no? No. No clubbing because this clubbing will apply only and only if it is spouse, not in case of son's wife. Remuneration wala section has mentioned spouse. Supposingly this was spouse and the payment was not remuneration but interest, again there will be no clubbing because I highlighted two words for you there. Which two words? Remuneration and spouse. Remuneration and spouse. 156. Next page.
Mr. A has 3 minor children, 2 twin daughters and 1 son. Income of the 2 twin daughters is 2,000 per annum each, and that of the son is 1,200 per annum. Compute the income in respect of minor child to be clubbed in the hands of Mr. A.
See, if they are giving club for Mr. A, means one thing is for sure, that question is assuming that he has higher income than his wife. Will he be adding the minor ka incomes in his own income? So simple है, calculate own income and add 2 plus 2, 4,000 and 1,200. हो गया. No? Why? Because we have got exemption per child of 1,500. For maximum, how many children? No limit. So you can take all three. So do one thing, add 2,000 twice and 1,200. 5,200 minus 1,500 into 3. No? How will you do it? First child, we will take 2,000 minus 1,500. So 500. Second child, we will take 2,000 minus 1,500. So 500. And third child, we will take 1,200 minus nothing. क्यों? तो minus nothing करेगा तो 1,200 बचेगा. You have brain, what you are saying? You have to do 1,200 minus 1,200 के 1,200 minus nothing. What did you say? 1,200 minus nothing. I am asking how much you are minusing, your answer can't be nothing. How much will come, then your answer will be nothing. So you have to minus 1,200, no, to make nothing come. समझते नहीं है what is the question. You get marks to answer the question, not to answer what you are already thinking. Final answer is going to be 1,000. Clear है? चल 157.
Compute total income of Mr. X and Mrs. X from the following. Salary income of Mr. X 5 lakh. Salary income of Mrs. X 8 lakhs. Income of minor children. Minor son A from scholarship 8,000. Married minor daughter B interest income 10,000. Minor daughter C interest income 2,000. Minor son D from participation in cricket match 50,000. Interest from investment of above income 5,000.
We have to compute the income of Mr. X and Mrs. X. First of all, what is their individual income? Mr. X ka income is 5 lakh. Mrs. X ka income is 8 lakh. So one thing we all understand, that whatever income of minor children is given, it is all going to be added in the income of Mrs. X, because that parent with higher income. So one by one we will take incomes. First is minor son A from scholarship. How much is the income? Here so we don't have to add, we know. How much is the income? 8,000. So in the mother's income we will add rupees? No. Why? Scholarship ka income in any case is exempt only. Next. Minor daughter B, interest income. B ka income? Mother's income to we won't add for sure. Okay. What about father's income? It won't come. What about mother? No, nahi aayega. Why? She is married. Father-in-law. Which section can you tell me, please? Which section said? You show me one section where I said your income that you are earning will go in the income of your father-in-law, unless father-in-law has transferred asset. Father-in-law has transferred the asset. Mother-in-law has transferred asset. Nahi. Show me a section. I quit teaching. Bakwas mat karo. There is no section which says any random income you will club in the hands of. First of all, your reaction to this is minor married daughter. Sir, Rajasthan hai kya? Nahi, sir. Choti si. Sir, this is the illegal. No child marriage. None of your business. But you're not understanding the point. Point is that even if she is married daughter, is she still a minor? So minor ka income will go in the income of parent unless father-in-law or mother-in-law has gifted any asset and that asset is generating income. Minor ka income, who pays tax? Just answer this. Who pays tax? Minor ka income, parents. चलना रे. फिर चलने का बोला तो ब्लैंक क्या है? Where in this minor का section? Where in this minor का section I have told you that if you are married, then it will not be your parents, it will be father-in-law. So whichever reference you say minor ka income ka section is this, which reference you were saying? You were assuming that the asset was gifted by father-in-law. So which reference? You say, what was your logic of saying father-in-law when you don't have also? What was your logic of saying father-in-law? Give me reason now. तो
मैं ये सोच रही थी कि आफ्टर अगर माइनर चाइल्ड मैरिज होते तो फिर उसके फादर इन लॉ मेंटेन करते हैं ना.
father-in-law won't maintain. I give you in writing. एक minute. I give you in writing. Father-in-law won't maintain. He may probably make you do household activity despite you being a minor child. One thing is for sure, father-in-law won't maintain. Nonsense. Income will be added in the income of parent. We have only two options, father or mother. Choose between them. Mother, because parent with higher income. So in the mother ka income, we will add rupees. In the mother ka income, we will add rupees. 8,500. Sir, anyone who would have said 10,000 will be wrong. Why, sir? Because 1,500 ka exemption per child is available. Understood? Next. Minor daughter. C. Interest income. Hey, married or not married, answer remains same. Minor child. Father or mother? Mother. How much? Sir, 500 because 1,500 is per child. Correct? Eh? Next. Minor son D. Participating in cricket match. Father to no clubbing. Mother? Sir, why no clubbing? Because special skill and talent and interest from the above income. Father still no clubbing. Mother? Will that be clubbing? Come on. No. Why? Because interest earning is also your skill. So what have you studied in the chapter? Today the chapter is taught. How can you be so blank or so stupid before thinking you are answering? You can take your time before answering, but think before you answer. Cricket match is your talent. After you earn that income, where to keep that money invested, that is not your talent. Minor does not have brain that I will keep in FD and on interest. Whose brain is used in earning interest? Parents, and therefore there will be clubbing. You don't understand that minor ka special skill was restricted to the cricket part. After that, it is not your skill. So income will be added in the income of parent. Which parent? Mother. How much we will add? 5,000. 3,500. So father's income will remain 5 lakh. Mother's income will become kya? 8,12,500. Whatever be the total you can take. But do you understand what nonsense mistakes you are making? Minor married daughter hai to father-in-law will marry. Which you don't have to assume. You have to tell me which part of the law tells you that. Show me a section where I made you do that. And listen, go check minor ka section once again. Special skill, manual labor or minor suffering from disability. There will be no clubbing. But any other income there will be clubbing. Hello? हाँ बोल.
So he saving account after having it.
Saving FD wherever, anything other than your skill is parents ka brain. Bro, you give it as unsecured loan to your relative, you buy debenture or you buy shares or you buy anything. The income generated from 50,000 will be decided by parents. So disabled hota to na, you are assuming is disabled. If the minor child is disabled, there won't be any clubbing of any income. Of course. But agar wo disabled hota to na. Arey bro. Agar if I was not Siddharth Surana, Siddharth Malia, so I would have dated Deepika ji in my good days. They used to date each other once upon a time. Agar hota matlab if and but ka there is no scope here, no. If he was disabled, there is no clubbing on any disabled child. That is applicable to A, B, C, D, all the children. Why only D ke liye you are asking? General you are asking. Child ka milega. So every child you are adding, take 1,500. Whatever you are adding, take 1,500 ka exemption for every child. So for example, first child you did not add only anything. So no exemption. Second, third and fourth child you add something. So you are taking the exemption. So that is why we are clubbing. No, exemption is on the amount that is being clubbed. Uske upar, the amount which is not being clubbed. Where is the question of granting any exemption? Who is getting the exemption? Parents are getting exemption. And whose income we are adding it? Parents. Whose income we are adding it? Parents ka income we are adding, then only parents ko we are granting the exemption. If parents ka brain was not there, there is no clubbing. If there is no clubbing, then there is no exemption. You think minor will get that 1500 ka exemption? No, na. The exemption will come only when clubbing is applicable. So clubbing is applicable only when parents are using brain. No. So whichever be the income, for every child you will get exemption of 1500. What is wrong with you guys today? What is your question? So this is direct only. Direct means what? Without skills. The fund has to come from somewhere. Where the funds came from? Interest you can't get without principal. No, where the principal came from? Please tell me. No cricket match. No, he can no cricket match. Where has the principal come from? Bolo. Are you clubbing it? Are you clubbing it? Any income of minor child which is being clubbed, there is 1500 exemption for every child. The threshold is 1500. If the actual is lower, the exemption will be lower, of course. That you have understood. For every child where there is exemption of 1500 per child, in fact, no restriction on number of children, there is the provision stating the nature of income. The amount clubbed subject to maximum of 1500 irrespective of nature or source. So what you are not clubbing, there is no question of exemption. What you are clubbing, in that we are giving 1500 irrespective of where this was earned from. Are we now clear? No confusion. So the amount which is not being clubbed, there is no question of exemption. And the amount being clubbed irrespective of source, there will be 1500 ka exemption. Now no confusion. Sure. Chalo 158.
Mr. X is the karta of a HUF whose members derive income as given below. Income from X's own business 50,000. Mrs. X, a dermatologist, gross salary after standard deduction 80,000. Minus son A, earning interest on fixed deposits with ABC Limited, which were gifted to him by his grandfather 15,000. A got winnings from lottery 2 lakhs. Minor daughter B gave a dance performance and received remuneration 1 lakh. Explain how the above income will be taxed.
So once again, do you understand from year to year is the income of minor child? Now, income of minor child will be added in whose income will depend on before clubbing who has got higher income. Now, whatever be the HUF, the incomes given are their personal incomes of X and Mrs. X. So between personal incomes of X and Mrs. X, who has got higher income? Mrs. X. That means one more time, can we conclude that clubbing will happen in Mrs. X? Now let's come to the minor children ka income. First, FD interest, 15,000 rupees. Will we club it? In whose income? Mrs. X. What will be the amount added in the income? 13,500. Sir, why 13,500? Because 1,500. Irrespective of source. Now you don't say, sir, grandfather gifted to club with grandfather. But the section or the chapter is not saying anything like that. Section or the chapter says what? Club in the hands of parent with higher income. Irrespective of source. You club, but per child give an exemption of 1,500. You understood? You don't go beyond the law that is written. Is that clear? Let me see how much. This will actually reflect if that is clear. Second is winning from lottery. Head of income कौन पूछ रहा है रे बाबा? Question is, who will pay tax? Who will pay tax? IFOF. Who will pay tax? का answer cannot be IFOF. Who will pay tax? Mrs. X. Sir, why? This is not special skill manual labor or disability. So mother, how much you will add in the income of mother? Because higher income. How much? 2 lakh. Okay, 198,500. Why 2 lakh? Because it is not per income. It is total income of minor child or 1,500. So the total income added from here will be 2,13,500 in this 80,000. Do you understand? Total income of one minor child or 1,500 ka exemption. And second, minor daughter B gave dance performance and received 1 lakh. So in the mother's income, we will add 98,500. No. Sir, why no? Because this is special scale, which simply means that Mr. X ka incomes or income taxable income will to remain at 50,000. Mrs. X in the mother ka income, we are adding minor child ka income of 2 lakh and 15,000 with the exemption of 1,500, coming to the net balance of 2 lakh 13,500 and the total becoming 2 lakh 93,500, and the minor daughter B ka income remains 1 lakh, which is her own special skill ka income. So here we have added minor son ka income by granting 1,500 per child, not per income. So now there is no confusion with respect to that clubbing. Okay, 159.
Mr. X gives 2 lakhs to Mrs. X as gift. She invests in a proprietary concern and incurred loss of 40,000. Can this loss also be clubbed and carried forward?
Will this loss be clubbed? Yes, because negative income will also be clubbed. 160.
Mr. V has transferred to a duly registered document the income arising from a go down to his son without transferring the go down. Discuss the tax treatment.
Will there be clubbing in this section? In this case, why? Section how transfer of income without transfer of asset. Then very first section of the chapter is going to attract clubbing. Now you are able to remember 161.
Mr. X has gifted 1 lakh debentures to Mr. Y. As per the deal, X can take the asset from Y or the income from Y during Y's lifetime discussed.
Will there be clubbing? Yes. Why? Because this is a revocable transfer. In case of revocable transfer, yes, clubbing provisions are going to be applicable. Yes or no? And second,
Suppose in the above case the deal states that X cannot retransfer the possession discussed.
then this becomes a case of irrevocable transfer, and irrevocable transfer mein there won't be any clubbing unless it was spouse. Correct? Hey, turn page mat kar. You won't find anything. That was your chapter. Some are surprised. So it's a very, very small chapter. So is the next chapter. What if I tell you tomorrow's lecture we will start and finish set off also? Most chapters are like this, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you all who have not yet completed, by the way, you had 5 days ka gap. By now you should have completed all additional question bank questions up to IFOS. But I am not even asking you because it will be very, very painful for you to answer this question because none of you all have. Have you? No. IFOS? No. Capital gain ka questions? No. Some are still stuck with their PGBP. Remember, May will come in May only, May will not come in September. And remember, write this down right now somewhere in your notebook which you are going to refer. I am responsible for everything that happens with me. No one else is responsible. No one else is responsible. This attitude is not going to take you anywhere. You had a 5 days gap. Never blame any coaching class, any teacher or ICAI for not passing you because you are responsible. Good result will come. We will put your name on the pamphlet. But obvious hai. But you are responsible because today I am telling you. Result day pe you come and tell me no. Then today's you write the date somewhere. You will know that why this happened, whatever happened. Whatever be the result, the answer is one thing. I deserve this. Good or bad. I deserve this. Remember this. Because in 5 days gap, if you could not complete PGBP capital gain also, you still have IFOS. Now clubbing will also get added. So remember, you are the only person who is responsible. Okay. Whereas I will continue and do the next chapter, set off and carry forward of losses with you in tomorrow's lecture.